The Queens of Spice podcast is created for adult audiences only. Our show contains cursing, vulgar content, dark humor, descriptions of sexual acts and desires, and is not suitable for listeners under the age of 18. Some episodes also contain themes which may be triggering for listeners. Please take care of yourself.
All you gotta do is get in line. Are you yanking? Yep. Force of bacon. Yep. He's a big pig. Yep. You can be a big pig too. Hooah!
Welcome to the Queens of Spice podcast. I'm your host, Rachel Raggy-Ragga-Chew. I'm here with my two BFFs, Ash and Jack. Hi, guys.
Hi, Rachel.
Happy New Year. It's technically the new year right now.
2024.
It's going to be way better than 2023, I bet. Right?
It's so funny. I was having this conversation with a friend the other day, how we always act like as soon as the new year hits, it's like, okay, everything's going to be so much better. And it's like, no, guys, everything's the same.
Also, January is like the worst month. Can we all concede on that? Like,
no, December's the worst month.
Different reasons. I think they're both bad for different reasons.
February used to be until they added a holiday.
They did add a holiday in the middle of
March
it.
also sucks.
It's also
But
short.
sometimes you get Easter, and if you're a kid, you get March break.
And in March you also get St. Patrick's Day, which is excellent.
Okay, clearly I'm just getting to the point that like every month sucks.
What's bad about April? Okay.
Oh, April does suck.
It's wet and gross.
And here it's still winter, pretty much.
Oh, well, in Montreal it's
like-
absolutely winter.
It's like winter, but not winter. But
Hey
winter,
guys,
but
did
not
you
winter.
know that Rachel lives in Montreal now?
I knew, but look at me here in the same province with you guys recording. Have fun.
We're so
Just
lucky.
don't offer her croissants.
I'm such a croissant snob now. I'm so sorry.
Our
What
peasant
about
croissant.
poutine? How do you feel about that?
I have to pronounce it poutine now. Originally, I would pronounce it poutine, and now my French friends make fun of me low-key about it. So I had to say poutine.
Poutine.
But yeah, you know what? I've had a lot of poutine, and it's like, I've had some good stuff and some bad stuff.
I feel like they use like a different. I don't know. I
You know
don't think
what?
I like for real
Poutine. You know what? I had vegan poutine not long ago, and it was actually very good.
Oh my god, they had one.
Tofu?
No, it's just like weird not cheese curds and weird not gravy and French fries. Like it's
Is that place called that was in Halifax? It was a vegan place.
smoked poutine.
No, it was a vegan restaurant, and they had vegan poutine, and it was fucking delicious.
Yeah, they can make it very good.
Like I wouldn't call it poutine, but it's like, you know how
It's
like,
fries and gravy.
Yeah,
Okay.
but it's like,
And
you know
cheese.
how like, if you're gonna have like vegan, it's not like I wouldn't call it bacon. Like
Gotcha.
it's not
Yeah,
vegan
yeah.
bacon. It's just some sort of like vegan
Meat alternative.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like not poutine, but it's like
Plant-based meat and cheese
It's
and
poutine.
Yeah.
it's a similar thing.
Gotcha.
That's delicious.
So poutine aside, we're talking about Werewolves Hate Clogs by
And
K.L.
why
Hiers.
they hate clogs.
And why they hate clogs.
Clogs like the shoes, like the Danish shoes.
Here's the thing. They hate Crocs specifically, but they can't use the word Crocs because Crocs is copywritten.
And I laughed so hard when I read this book so many months ago, and I'm pretty sure I was screenshotting it and putting it in the group chat.
Correct. And based on the name alone, I was pretty okay with covering it. Like I hadn't even read it and I put it on the list.
Is it because their feet are weird shaped?
We're going to get into it. Let's get into it.
It
Okay.
literally has nothing to do
It has
with
nothing
the
to do with-
werewolf.
I bet you their feet get cold because there's a little holes.
I hate Crocs too, just so we're all 100% clear.
Othniel Neil Ritchie has a sweet new gig working in his uncle's flower shop. Good hourly pay, free room and board, and he has absolutely no idea that the city is apparently infested with monsters. That is, until he does. Louis Morenas Monstro is a werewolf and an underboss in the monstrous crime family who rules over everything that goes bump in the night. When the prized magical artifact becomes inadvertently attached to Neil, Lou is determined to get it back at any cost, even pretending to date him. Neil finds himself at odds with an entire monster family, their rebellious enemies, and his own growing attraction to Lou. He hopes he lives long enough to find out if their explosive chemistry can lead to something real. But first, he has to make sure that he doesn't end up as monster kibble.
Monster kibble.
So, Jack, how do you feel about Crocs?
Well, I'm gonna admit it. I owned Crocs
Mhm.
one time.
Mm-hmm.
Like
What color were they?
they were red, like bright red.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like the that feel of them. Like, I have that weird thing where, like,
Where you're autistic and you're sensory sensitive.
yes, I guess.
They look sweaty. Are they sweaty?
Oh, but they're like
When
almost
they get-
squeaky.
Yeah, when they get wet, they're super like eerie, uncomfortable.
Oh, I can't. Oh, they were fine like when I first tried them, and I was like, okay, these are like super comfortable and they're really light, and that was cool. But then, I don't like them. And anyway, my mom stole them from me, and she loved them.
And then she passed away. So, like,
Well-
what is that saying about Crocs?
Yeah, they'll kill ya.
Listen, I'm just...
It might be 20 years later, but they'll fucking kill a bitch.
Jesus.
My dad also had Crocs, and they were brown.
Brown?
Yeah,
Ooh.
they were for like the garden, and he used.
That's what they were originally made
Oh,
for.
like OG clogs? But were they actually Crocs, like the brand
Yeah,
name?
they were Crocs.
Crocs were
Damn.
originally made for like
Man,
gardening
he
and
was
stuff
way
like that.
ahead of the curve on that one.
Oh man.
Jeez. So Neil, however, his Crocs are bright pink,
Okay,
like hot pink.
I like that.
He works at a flower shop that he's looking after for his uncle.
Holding down the fort.
Holding down the fort. His uncle Shiloh. It's called Uranian Flora, and the town is called Somerstown. Somerstown. And
Okay.
Somerstown is like a normal everyday town, city, whatever. For like most people. And then there are monsters.
Just like here. Normal, everyday town. And then there's monsters.
And then there's monsters.
Okay, so are there all sorts of different monsters or just werewolves?
There are tons of different monsters.
Okay.
So the book starts with Neil like opening the flower shop, and he goes through his daily routine of like watering all the flowers, and like he has a bunch of regulars that he calls the list. People come in like multiple times a week to get things like, there's one guy that like gets herbs, fresh herbs.
Yeah.
There's someone that like gets flowers for like her deceased husbands, plural. And she puts them at their grave or whatever. And
Do you think she killed them?
well, we're gonna find out.
Oh my god, I was just kidding.
I think well, here's the thing: she absolutely outlived them,
Right.
whether or not.
As a result of her getting them flowers and them being dead.
Yeah, I mean the correlation's not causation on this one, but Neil's like going around his whatever daily whatever, and
His daily whatever.
his daily whatever. And he gets
Whatever.
he gets his normal people come in and whatever. Then he goes out back to do something, and he spies that cactus. There's like this very fancy cactus. Jack, did you read your notes?
I fucking love a cactus.
Did
y'all.
you read your notes about
So
the main?
does Lou. Lou loves a nice cactus too.
So the cactus-loving Lou had ordered this cactus specifically for unknown reasons to date.
Oh.
However,
Guess we know what I'm coloring.
A penis
are you gonna draw me a
cactus?
cactus with penises?
Penis cactus?
I like it.
So
That means she didn't think of it.
excellent.
Exactly.
So Neil is out back and whatever, and the cactus he knows has like a bloom on it, and there's a little post-it note beside it that has Lou's name on it specifically. As Neil is looking at it, the note changes.
Sorry, is Lou the uncle?
No, Shiloh's the uncle. Lou is the he's a patron at this point.
Oh, right. He's the okay. Sorry.
This is his special cactus that Shiloh had found for
It's
him.
a special cactus.
And when it starts to bloom, Neil is supposed to contact Lou, and so his post-it note that's beside the thing changes, and it says something else. It says something like, "It's starting to bloom. Call him now."
And like all along, as he's doing all of these things in his very mundane way, he notes that like things are happening and he doesn't have to do a whole lot.
He's so like blissfully ignorant.
Yeah,
and I
like-
kind of love that.
Like somebody obviously is coming in and watering all these plants because I don't have to do it.
Well, no, he does water plants, but like he doesn't do arrangements. They just show up.
Yeah.
And he doesn't have to like pull any plants or whatever. They're already there.
Yeah.
Like it's
Oh
all
my
kind of it's all like
goodness.
self-tending kind of. But Shiloh mentioned to him that it was like, I have someone come in and do those things, so don't worry about it. And then he just doesn't worry about it at the end.
Yep.
And so he just goes along his merry way, like doing this job that's the easiest job he's ever had, most lucrative job, and he like lives for free, and it's great.
And then there's the people upstairs.
Oh yeah, they're just noisy. They just like walk around a lot, like 3 o'clock in the morning or whatever. It's
Isn't
fine.
there something to do with a
It's-
dildo in the wall?
Sometimes we
Oh.
have to pee at 3 o'clock in the morning. Okay.
It's a business, but okay.
Oh, there's a business.
it's a business
upstairs?
upstairs.
What's the business, or is that important?
It's important.
To be determined.
TBD.
Wasn't there a thing with the dildo in the
There
wall? though?
was. He was getting kind of lonely, and he was tending to himself, and he stuck a dildo to the wall and accidentally broke the wall.
Neil did this?
Yes.
Good for him.
Gotta get it. If you ain't getting it somewhere, give it yourself. So
Aggressively. Well,
No,
it's not like you're just like boot doo boot doo boot doo boot doo, because obviously nothing's gonna get ripped off. You're gonna be railing yourself hard if you're gonna fucking pull plaster off a wall.
well, and like indented even.
Yeah.
Like anyway, I just don't think I'd stick a dildo to a wall. Oh, remember that time you stuck a dildo to a wall?
Which time? There were multiple.
Was that the dildo that me and a friend gifted you?
Yes.
You drove around and stuck to the side of a car.
My car.
Yeah.
Well, my mom's car.
Yeah.
That may have killed her too. We don't know.
The dildo. I remember
But
when I lived.
It was a little premature, but yeah.
when I lived with people at my second year of university, and they kept putting a crucifix out to my wall, and I was getting pissed off about it, so I put this big red fucking dildo hanging over top of the crucifix.
Was red your color?
You gifted it to her.
You gave it to me, yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Red apparently was your color. You
Here's
had
a
Crocs that
box.
were red.
The theme is red, is what you told me. There was big
Yeah,
red gum
okay.
and like.
That was your 18th birthday, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Another friend's was purple.
I didn't get one. Rude,
That is rude.
isn't it?
We must not have thought of it. Wait.
She turned
Yeah.
18 before you turned 18. Therefore, she
Exactly.
was buying her own sexual products
We-
before you could purchase them for her.
Actually, do you remember on my birthday we bought fireworks and we went and threw them in some
Mailboxes.
mailboxes? A little more,
my
a
god!
little more violent.
So my accountant, who listens to this, and we adore her, was talking about how she was listening to the podcast, and I was like, "Oh yeah, which one?" She's like, "You guys were talking about setting things on fire," and I was like, right, yeah, that's a thing I did."
Yeah, I mean we were like 17 or something. We were young.
I think we were probably younger than that.
I don't think we were.
When I set my arm on fire, I was a lot younger than that.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, it was funny.
And in fairness, I've almost set my house on fire on several occasions. So
And I've almost set your house on fire on several occasions too.
correct. So there it is. Jack, that's quite a penis you're drawing. It's very.
It's a cactus.
Is it?
Are those flowers at the bottom?
Is it?
No.
Are they?
Okay.
It's blooming. So the post-it note changes, and he's like, "What the fuck? That's weird." And then he goes and calls Lou. But as he's about to go call Lou, Lou walks into the front door.
Because he's magic.
Because the fucking cactus called him.
No, it's because in this instance, which we don't know yet as the reader, Lou is fetching this cactus because on the full moon, it's supposed. I'm sorry, on the what's it called? The phase, Jacqueline. What's the phase after a full moon called?
A new moon?
Waning?
Waning. That's it. Thank you. I knew you would know it.
Hello, Mr. Moon.
You know all the moon phases. So,
Is it a sturgeon moon?
fish moon?
Oh no, I just broke my crayon. I was going too hard with the penis.
That definitely looks like
I mean,
a cactus now. I could see where the cactus is coming out of the penis. So Neil rolls up and he's like, "Yo, bitch, I'm here for my cactus."
Lou rose up.
Lou rolls up, and in this case, he actually does because he drives a truck, which
Oh,
did
he's driving
roll
a truck?
up.
Yeah.
They see him rolling.
They hating. And
Riding dirty.
anyway, so they're like kind of hitting on each other, and
Flirt, flirt.
and like Lou's hand might have like brushes Neil's hand at one point and whatever, and like brings him his cactus. It's already paid for. It goes away. And then
Weird shit starts to happen.
weird shit starts to happen. He goes to. My brain just melted.
I just saw it melt.
Like a candle.
I should mention too, right before Lou rolls up, literally, he goes to flip through the Rolodex to find his phone number to call him, and the Rolodex starts saying things to him,
Yeah, it does.
and he automatically like pulls up like the Rolodex just like spits out his number automatically, or I think, and then it changes to like, oh, he's here,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
then
Oh, is it like Mrs. Weasley's magic clock?
yeah, it's something like that.
Nope.
Oh.
And so after
Screw
Lou,
you, Ashton.
Fishes.
What did I do?
You broke my heart.
No, the crayon broke your heart.
No, that crayon broke her dick. No, sorry, the dick broke the crayon.
There's lots of things
There's
getting
a-
broken here.
My force on the dick broke the crayon.
Your
Jesus.
foreskin broke the crayon?
I love you both dearly. I missed you.
We missed you. Well, I did. I can't speak for Ashton.
I don't miss anything. Just
Don't-
kidding. Love you.
Don't you miss the days when they weren't so complicated? Like when you just had a red dildo to worry about, making sure it didn't fall off a car.
Yeah, now I got a kid I gotta keep alive.
And he can't fall off the car.
Yeah, I also have to make sure he doesn't fall out of a car.
Remember when my chocolate milk fell off the car?
My fuck.
Remember when I dropped my latte?
Oh, that was horrible. But Jacqueline's was... we were at the beach, and we were coming back from having a bonfire, and we were driving down a really, 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 really dark, like, no lights road, and then all of a sudden you would just hear... thud, 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 and we were like, oh my God, did she fucking hit something? Because this was like, a few years after I Know What You Did Last Summer. No, she just left her fucking liter of chocolate milk on the top of the car.
Holy, was it Scottsburn too?
Oh, yeah.
That's
it
a good
was.
shit. That's such, oh man.
Back in the day of the juicy squirts.
Okay, I have to tell you something.
Okay.
So, I have always been hardcore Scottsburn chocolate milk.
Mm-hmm.
Way better than Farmers.
Yep, 100%.
100% like will fight you.
I don't even like chocolate milk, and I know that.
We did a taste test.
Like a blind taste test?
Yes.
Oh no.
A double blind study with a placebo and everything.
Holy
no,
shit.
There wasn't really a placebo. That's
Normal milk.
You can't, oh, that would just ruin your life. Farmers fucking won.
I'm so sad for you.
But like, I swear Scottsburn tasted different. So I don't fucking know now.
I should bring you the Quebec stuff. Keep on.
My whole world.
Because Quebec, everything is better than Nova Scotia.
Baxter, I remember being really delicious. I don't know where
never had
that's from.
Baxter.
PEI, maybe. But anyway, or maybe New Brunswick.
I feel like it's New Brunswick.
I know I used to get it in PEI, but it could be still from New Brunswick.
Good point. No,
But-
because ADL is PEI.
Oh, right. Well, there could be two.
There could be. Yeah.
But
It's lots of islands.
worst chocolate milk I've ever had. Australia.
Mm,
Oh, buddy, it was bad.
the cows ain't mooing. Well, thank you for that chocolate milk segue.
Yeah,
The
I'm sorry.
cows ain't mooing.
I don't know what that means either, but it's funny.
The cows ain't mooing.
So Neil's like starts to go back to his work, and
Weird shit.
shit starts happening.
Yeah.
And someone starts talking to him out of nowhere,
Yeah.
and then this weird big dog shows up, and
Yeah.
then the reader board that was like showing the menus or whatever starts changing into words talking to him,
Talking to him.
and he's slowly losing his shit because it's like, what the fuck is going on?
Does anyone else think it's funny that Ashton just keeps saying,
Yeah. Jacqueline, one of the characters' names is Flanders.
oh?
So Flanders is the dog that shows up, and
Yeah.
he's a Clydesdale size hellhound.
And Neil calls him Ned.
Wouldn't you love to snuggle that?
Yes, I would.
It's a hellhound, though, so he smells like brimstone. I don't know if I would like that.
Don't
What
care.
does that smell like? Just fire.
It smells
I
like
would
ass.
think. Oh.
Yeah,
I would
brimstone
think it would
smells
smell
assy.
Yeah, like eggs.
Ew!
Yeah,
Why
like
is
bad
it
bad
blue?
farts.
Like what?
What? Bad farts?
Oh, bad farts.
As opposed to those good ones.
No, I thought she said bat farts. And I was like, that's oddly specific.
Oh man, have you ever smelled bat
Guano.
farts?
Blech.
AKA, have you ever been in a cave?
No, I avoid
Not
them.
with bats, I don't think. And then like something gets thrown through the front window and it breaks and shatters, and then all hell breaks loose.
Lou comes back.
There's like a big fucking showdown, and Flanders is like fighting these like big huge werewolf creatures,
Oh, yeah.
and he's like, what the fuck is going on? I'm losing my mind.
Yep.
The dogs like that?
Oh, Neil.
No, Neil.
Oh.
And so Myrna, who was the lady that started talking to him,
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, you need to summon." Well, it was the architect to fix it, but I think does he summon the acrobat first off? I think.
I thought the acrobat came later.
You know what? This is a big jumble, and I read this like a while back. So for me, a while back. So I'm gonna be
A while back.
my
Sunday.
timeline's gonna be
Sunday.
off.
Your time is going to be
been a
off.
week.
I read this like months ago.
So basically, what it comes down, there's this big showdown, there's a big fight, and there's all these like monsters basically like killing each other, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And the house is talking to him, and it's crazy.
Don't they deal with it themselves, the two of them, and then Lou comes back?
Well, then Lou comes in and saves the day.
yes. And
is
then
what
they
happens.
call the architect.
Yeah, after that Lou tells him about this bracelet that he's wearing now,
Reliquary.
the reliquary, and he's like, yeah, apparently it's on your wrist and it's supposed to be on mine. So what we're gonna do is that you're gonna summon the architect, he's gonna fix this, and then we have to leave because the cops are gonna show up, because this is, you know, a normal city, and when people start breaking windows of flower shops, the police tend to show up.
What you have to understand, though, Jack, is that when you summon each of the different spirits in the reliquary, you have to do a different thing. and they do different things. I think that's probably one of the things that I love the most about this book.
I do, yeah, that like the kind of magic system that this basically is. It's very cool.
The like, and like the attention to detail to like the way the spirits look and how they perform is like, I don't want to get too far ahead, but like, I think it's Eugene the Fiend. Like,
He like
that was so
zip and then drops all of his like, skin.
yeah,
Yeah, it was crazy.
But you have to like sing fucking Sinatra or something.
Yes, you
like
do.
it's just, it was so random, but it also made sense because it was just, that's like, there was a whimsy to this book that I lost my shit over.
And Myrna's a great example of that.
Oh,
Because,
yeah.
And like when you first meet her, she's like a 50s housewife, like
Let me get you tea.
let me get you the tea
The
and
dream.
like oh yeah, and she's like she
to have one or to
cleans.
be one.
Be one.
Well, I mean,
And-
people think you sound like one.
They do. It's true. People say that. Like what's it called?
Don Draper's wife, Betty Draper.
Little Betty Draper in there. Except Buck and Nuts would never cheat on you because that's hilarious. So
That's good.
so Myrna, I wrote down that she has violent OCD, which is the best way to frame that right now. Then we're gonna leave it at that. We'll talk about her later.
Oh yeah.
Flanders, like I mentioned, he's the Hellhound, and I think it's Arise Flanders to summon him. But so Flanders and Myrna are always kind of around.
And Flanders rips on Neil from the get go.
As soon as Flanders shows up, the first thing he says to Neil is, "What the hell are you wearing on your feet?"
Oh.
And Flanders is the one that tells him that werewolves hate clogs or Crocs.
Yeah, specifically Crocs.
And he wants to set them on fire. He threatens to set them on fire so many times.
And to the point that Neil uses it as leverage later on. To
Yeah.
be like, I'll burn my shoes if you do this thing. And
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, you asked for it.
And then he just gets more Crocs.
But he's
then he
not
does.
a werewolf. So why does he care?
Well, he knows. So, okay, the bracelet, the reliquary, it belongs to Lou. So the spirits in it get to decide, predominantly Buffy, who's like the strongest spirit. We'll meet her later. She kind of like decides who they go live with or who they go to protect.
Is she a vampire slayer?
No,
she's a cat.
she's a cat.
You're poor fucking Greyhound.
No.
The end's just like boop.
It's like limp.
Right. So Lou comes back. They have a quick discussion about like, hey, we're leaving because this is bad shit. And Neil's like, what the fuck is going on? And he's losing his mind. So they they leave and they go to his place.
Yes.
Lou's place, which is a really fucking nice condo at the top of this building.
Swanky.
Super swanky. And then when Neil walks in, it's just cactus as far as the eye can see.
Oh.
He loves cactus.
He's obsessed with cactus.
Like cactus stuffies, cactus blankets, cactus. I think he has cactus boxers too.
he does. He's cactus underwear. Yeah.
Don't judge.
I'm not.
We're not judging.
There
We're
is
actually
no judgment.
we're excited for you
Oh, I'm so
because I know how much you love cactus.
No, I'm not jealous. I'm envious.
Yeah, that's a good point.
This is like
Those are so completely different words, and people just use them all willy nilly and interchangeably, and it's crazy.
That's because jelly's fun to say.
Oh, that's true.
So jelly.
Jacqueline likes.
I'm
the
so
cactus.
envy. That doesn't work. Because envy is actually a word, but so is jelly. But
Different context.
yeah,
And I like werewolf penises.
And here we are all together. I like books, so
Me too.
perfect.
Oh, I dropped my pen.
So when they get back, there's like an emergency meeting called, there's a meeting that Lou has to attend.
Yes.
And he brings Neil with him because Neil has the reliquary, which is a very important part of Lou's job, for lack of a better term.
kind of thing.
Yeah, so let's go meet them right now. So he goes into this.
Let's go.
He goes in this meeting with the rest of his family.
I feel like there should be like a little journey song to go meet them, like do 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 do.
Except he's taking the elevator down like 2 floors, but I mean,
So it's more like
it's elevator music.
Oh wait, no, that's the Wii music.
It sounded like you were trying to sing that one Meghan Trainor song.
I don't know who that
made
is.
you look.
For real?
I'm not your mother.
Oh my goodness.
Could I
I
interest you
am
with-
your mother.
Can I interest you in some death metal, perhaps?
I am
Is there
your
a
mother.
cover of that?
You listen to me.
Okay, so they go down to this meeting. The meeting is with Lou's family, quote unquote.
I also like this as like the dynamic too, where it was like very mafia. Like
It's 100% mafia.
Yeah.
And their family only by name.
Yeah.
Monstro is their last name. They all share.
Monster?
Monstro.
Monstro.
Kind of like the fucking giant whale that eats Pinocchio.
Oh yeah.
The look on your fucking face.
Its name is Monstro?
Yeah,
I thought it was Moby Dick.
that's a different book.
Oh.
So they go to this meeting, and in this meeting is
The twins.
the twins Absolus and Villanos, who are Fae from their domain is ethereal. They have a minion named Luke, and then Mr. Hiers, who's a demon, and he has a dude on a collar standing near him who's a celestial named Serial, and then he has Azazel, who's obviously a demon.
Cereal?
Yeah.
Like a fun way to say cereal?
It's a common name for an angel, I believe, too, so there's probably something there. And Q, who
I forgot about Q.
Q is short for a very long name I'm not going to pronounce. And he's considered an other. So in this case, other, when we use that phrase, it's going to be like Cthulhu-esque kind of horrors of a sort.
The eldritch horrors of sorts.
Yes.
So Jack, the way it works is each of the different like family members rules over a different
So there's ethereal
dominion.
Yeah,
I guess.
ethereal, the other.
Yeah.
Heis is heaven hell, like both celestial and demons.
Yeah.
And then Lou is
Like our realm.
yeah, like it's
Terra?
terrestrial or something, I think they call it. I didn't write it down. But it's like terrestrial, which is like Earth.
Yeah.
And so he's especially so like in this world there's kind of pockets of monsters, and this is like one of the biggest collections of monsters on Earth is in this area. And so this is where Lou lives and kind of like reigns over them.
He's like the mob boss.
He's the mob boss. It's definitely mob boss as opposed to like protector and that kind of stuff. But he is like, he does have a soft heart on some sides, which we're gonna talk about.
As mob bosses do.
Well, this one does.
Well, I mean, they're like cactuses, right?
Also, I skipped over this. Lou's a werewolf. So I guess
Did we really skip over that?
I totally did. I totally didn't mention that at all. Lou's
I
a
was
werewolf.
waiting for someone to be a werewolf.
Because when Lou comes in to like start fighting people, he's like this big black wolf guy.
Yeah.
And then he turns back into a normal.
Because that wasn't hot or anything.
Well, and not to mention when he transforms, he is naked.
Takes his clothes off.
Usually he does, but in this case, when he transformed in front of Neil, he was completely naked because he just like tore his clothes off and like went into battle to save Neil.
Nom, 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 nom,
And
nom,
so
nom,
Neil,
nom.
like, who already has like a bit of a crush on him, is just like, oh hey, how you doing?
Oh yeah, make sure you wear blue. When they were gonna go on their
They were
date,
going on a
he
date.
used to make sure you wear blue.
As it goes with his eyes.
It's actually interesting. That was one of the finer points I remember, is that it was a game that Lou used to play with people.
Yes.
It was a power move, and he's
To
like,
tell them what color to wear?
yeah,
Oh.
because he's like a dom, basically.
But there was a reason for it, though. It was like he was like going to impress them with something, and then he had
a flower trick.
Yeah.
When he goes on first dates with people, he always asks them to wear blue because he like has this like he pulls a flower out of nowhere, and it's always a blue flower.
Yeah.
And so
Aw.
that's
But
like
he didn't want to do it with Neil afterwards because he realized he might actually
he actually
like
kind of
Neil,
likes Neil.
and he didn't want to just like bone him.
It's not special if you do it with everyone.
Well, and that was his point too, because he's like Lou. So what you need to realize too is that Lou only dates guys, and he doesn't date monsters, and so that is like limiting in a number of ways. One of the ways is that Lou has a knot, and so because
is that
he
the
werewolf.
thing that Ashton really wants?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
I don't want it.
Yes, you do.
Listen, it's hot AF, and
Okay, Rachel really wants it too.
so because of that, Lou has to be very careful about who he dates. And so, like, up until this morning, Neil had no idea monsters existed, which is the case for most people that Lou would date. And then all of a sudden, Neil gets thrown into this universe of like, oh, hey, now there's monsters everywhere. Time to learn all about it.
Sorry. Why would you want to date non-monsters if you have a knot? Wouldn't that be just like super painful for a normal person?
Well, but here's the thing. He hides it from people. And so,
By
like,
not sticking it in.
yeah, so he doesn't actually use it when he's going, like, he's doing people.
Okay, so can they
and
not
he
see
never
it?
has a second date.
Oh, I see.
So it's a lot of maneuvering in that regard.
Imagine a lot of fucking from behind.
Right,
I think he actually mentions that that's the only time he does it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like people can't see or whatever, or it's always dark anyway. There's
I have
he
to
protects
say,
it.
I can't remember how it went in this book, but one of the things that I've noticed in reading like Omegaverse style or anything where like nodding comes into play, versus like fan fiction where Omegaverse stuff, the knot is always like expanded to the point that they have to force it in, where in fan fiction it's like the whole thing is in and the knot expands inside them, and I think I like that better.
That's how I understood it from when we talked about it before.
Yeah, well, we talked about it in the the Raylo fan fiction. That's how it happened. It like expands when it's inside versus like forcing the fucking thing inside.
We're gonna come back to this conversation in about 3 books, and we're gonna talk about a scene.
I was like, which book are we talking about?
No spoilers, but we're gonna revisit this. Come back in a couple weeks. We're gonna talk about it again.
Can't talk about knots too many times.
I mean, I love
about that specifically, that specific aspect of knots. We'll come back to that because I have opinions that
About
need
what I just talked
context. Yeah,
Like, you need me to answer you things?
no, sorry. I don't. No, I have comments on it about
Okay.
Opinions. Not questions.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let's glaze.
Don't worry, I'll have questions for you, Ashton.
Jack will always have questions for you.
Penis.
Right. So they go into this meeting.
Yep.
And I should preface this with Lou. There's a lot of stuff going on in Lou's domain that he does not tell his family because he does not want to look weak, because already he is the weakest of the 4 dominions.
Yes.
And so he goes out of his way to solve problems and stuff without getting his family involved, the quote unquote family involved.
Enter fake dating.
And so they notice that Lou has lost the reliquary, though, which is like the cornerstone of his powers. And it's a huge issue, of course, because they're like, what the fuck? And he's like, oh, it's in my custody. And they're like, what do you mean? It's like, it's attached to my mate. And they're like, excuse me? Like, when did you take a mate? And
Enter fake dating.
and so, like, obviously Lou is like floundering on this one, and the twins kind of pick up on that too, which is I love this aspect of it.
They're fucking chaotic.
Oh,
and I
love
love
them.
it.
They're so good. Here's the thing too, because it's like when you first start reading the book and you're going through it and you're just like, oh god, these twins are gonna be a fucking problem. And by the end of the book, you're like, these twins are great.
I mean,
love
I feel
them.
that way about all of the characters, really, though, because you're like, it's that like unreliable narrator situation, right?
Mhm.
Like, you're getting everything through Neil, and some of it's through.
It's written
Lou.
third person.
Is
So-
it written third?
Yeah,
person?
it's written third person. So
Oh,
it's
Jesus.
so because of that, you do get that unreliable. And again, like the third person thing is always interesting to me too, because it feels less personal. Which, I mean, that's kind of the point. Is that like I think you lose some emotional attachment somewhere.
Well, it's funny. I had this conversation with a friend the other night about, because like a lot of fan fiction, particularly Raylo fan fiction, and I guess like it's the only one I can speak to. Well, no, I can do Hermione too, but is written in third person. So my friend struggles with first person because so much of the content, like I got her to read Butcher and Blackbird, and she struggled with the first person content of it. It was like. And I did too when I first started like really slipping away from fan fiction, started reading more like traditional books, because a lot of stuff is written in first person, and it's super jarring at first, but I like the way you get into the mental space and like you really settle into that unreliable narrator because you're processing information through the person who's providing you the information. And a good example is Fourth Wing with Violet's perception of like everything that's going down, and like the author stating like you're not going to get Xaden's perspective until he stops lying to her, and so you're forced into this unreliable narrating and questioning everything, and you get a lot of angst that way, and we all know how Ashton feels about angst. I'm like, I mean, how many times have you told me to stop reading something because it's going to hurt me?
That's true. But at the same time, though, like I completely agree with that take on it, because there's something like you get so emotionally involved with first person that you don't get with third person, obviously, because you're inside somebody's head.
Yeah.
And there's something quite nice about reading from somebody else's perspective.
Is that why first-person shooter games suck so much?
No, but like you also struggle with certain I don't want to say content matter, but like you're selective when you get into certain things because of the emotional ramifications that it can have for you. So you tend to pick books like Morning Glory Milking Farm and like, you know, other things where people fuck like a door or the pillow or things like that, because like, but you know what I mean?
I mean, what you need to understand is that I read a lot of those things for shock value, because a lot of people send me those things, and I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm gonna read it then.
And by a lot of people, she means me because I don't fucking learn.
Here's the thing. You know what is hilarious too is that you always send me those things, and then everybody else sends them to me as well because my friends know me at this point.
That's hilarious.
It's very funny. Like I'll have things come up weeks later, and I'm like, read that a couple weeks ago. Like
Yeah.
you're late to the game, but thanks.
Ashton already served.
Well, I mean, I want to say a couple months ago, Jacqueline was like, "Oh my god, the pumpkin spice latte erotica." And I'm like, "Well, let's read it then, of course."
Yeah, when we were here and you read it out loud.
I read it to
us.
everybody because it's only like 30 pages or something. I was like, we're all gonna read it together.
That was the time.
It was
Pumpkin
great.
Spice sexuals.
That was lovely.
Did you read the stuff by Aware Turkey?
Not yet. It's on my list. I've been busy, but
Case
yeah.
in point.
Yeah.
Ashton reads books that make her cry. Rachel reads books about random shit.
That make other people cry for
Yeah.
different reasons.
Or like want to hide under a pillow.
Where do we go from here? Okay, the family, right? So, Lou tells them that that Neil's his mate because he's with the Reliquary, and it's like you can't, like it has to be in his possession, or his like ability to control his domain is going to be incredibly compromised.
Well, and like there's this very kind of settled dynamic amongst them too. Like, well, if he can't take care of it, then one of the other of the family are going to step up.
Well, the twins specifically.
Yeah, because they're chaos incarnate.
They sure are.
But they're not actually mates, right? Yet?
No, they're not.
Okay.
And there's a lot of like Lou has a second named Michael, and he also has Roland, who's a were-tiger,
and
Dagobert, who's a vampire. They call him Birdie. And then he also has Francis, who's a Frank, which is like a Frankenstein.
There's lots
They
of Franks.
all look the same, but they're all slightly different. Like Francis has glasses because he's an accountant.
Oh, come on.
You have glasses and you're an accountant.
Shut up.
But that's another thing that I loved about it. Like there was so many, like the Franks are like a species all of their own, and they're just
They're just big monsters.
Yeah.
That are all accountants?
No,
No.
just this one. He's the smartest of all the Franks.
Yeah,
He's an
he is.
accountant.
Like that noise?
That's quite a noise.
Why are you kissing at the Frank?
I think-
Because we're smart accountants.
She's waving her ponytail back and forth too. I wave my hair back and forth.
Carry on.
God. So, where do I go?
Ashton's being hateful today.
Today?
Yeah, why is she giving me these dirty looks?
Carry on, my wayward son.
Carry on. Oh, we're gonna talk about that later too.
What?
Don't worry about it. It's a supernatural reference. So they leave the meeting.
Yep.
And they go back to Lou's place.
Yep.
And immediately they have to have the discussion of like, okay, you're gonna pretend to be my mate. Here's what you have to do in order to do that. Because the Reliquary has to stay with me. Like it has to be here all the time. You have to stay with me all the time.
Fake dating.
Fake dating.
Okay, why can't he just take off this fucking bracelet?
Okay. So the bracelet chooses who it goes with.
She already explained this.
Oh,
And
I forget. Or I was coloring a penis cactus.
so the bracelet chooses who to go with.
The
And-
wand chooses the wizard.
Yes.
Okay.
But in this case, it can go to other people. But so before this, it chose like the bracelet had chosen Lou
Because he's strong.
because he's very strong and he needed to protect, and there's a reason they did that. And so in this case, as soon as the bracelet came near Neil, it immediately jumped to him. And so the dynamic amongst the bracelet is that there are all these little beads that are on the bracelet that have little things inside of them for each of the spirits that are in it.
And by things, she means spirits.
Well, no, like there's objects. Like inside of Flanders is a little flame, I think. Or it's a bone. And inside like Sawbones, it's a it's saw or something, like a little, like, what's it called? Anyway, there's things inside of the little beads that like
Like little trinkets in there?
kind of, yeah, basically.
They summon
Because they're like
spirits.
they're magic from the other. And so like they're incredibly powerful like spirits that have been trapped inside these, not trapped, but have been like summoned inside these beads in order
And
to protect.
Buffy is the one that chooses who they stay with.
Because Buffy is the strongest.
Yeah.
But
But she's also the shyest.
She is. She doesn't come out until much later. Anyway, so
I'm just laughing. I finished a book today where the brother came out, and then there's a whole thing between he and his sister, and so he and the guy he was seeing were like in the closet fooling around at his parents' like anniversary party, and the sister's there, and he's like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, I'm just taking a picture of you coming out of the closet. It was adorable.
amazing.
Yep.
So they have that big, like this big discussion about how Neil is supposed to act as his mate.
Yeah.
And all these other things. And then,
And he has to be seen in public.
yes. So in the meantime, Michael and Roland and Dagobert. I know, isn't it? But he's a vampire too. He's super serious.
And he hates when they call him
Hates-
Birdie.
They call him Birdie. He can't stand it.
He runs a club, doesn't he?
He does. Those three show up to Lou's apartment because this is where we get some of the background of what's going on.
Yes.
Is that there's like this plague that specifically targets wares, like were creatures. And that was what the cactus was for. And it was to help like cure this plague. And the cure of the plague is contingent on the reliquary because Sawbones is the one that has to make the antidote for the plague.
Oh my god.
And the cactus is what's
spirit.
needed for this. So he sends Roland and Michael off to get the stuff they need for the next, I think it's 2 days from now. Because the cactus blooms on the, what is it again? The waning, whatever?
Waning moon.
Perfect. On the waning moon, which is the day after the
The blue corn moon.
Jesus. And of course,
Have you ever heard the wolf cry to the blue corn moon?
thanks for that.
Or ask the grinning bobcat why he grins.
Thanks for that too.
Yeah,
Can
you're
you
welcome.
sing with all the voices
It's just like, fuck.
No, I can't. Actually, I don't know that song.
of the mountain?
Can you paint with
all
all
the
the colors
colors
of
of
the wind?
Is that Pocahontas?
If you own the earth. I can't remember. Fuck. And
Oh, no.
Pocahontas.
All
You
this.
forgot.
Well, I don't know.
Don't worry.
I won't.
I'll sing it for you later.
Oh, darn. Okay.
That'll just get spliced into See My Vest and fucking rapping and all this other stuff.
Hell yeah. Where was I? Jeez. This is chaos.
Wait,
Oh,
I have a question. That's like a legitimate question about monster creatures.
what do you got?
Werewolves.
Mhm.
Okay, what's like the were part? Because you said were tiger,
Mhm.
and so there's other animals, and what does that mean?
So they transform. So they're basically humans and wolves, like large wolven.
okay, so the
So
were
they're
part just-
humanoid. Yeah, the were is that like they transform into that creature.
And is it always on a full moon?
It
for
is
all
not
of
in
them?
this case.
Okay.
So the way the way it works in this one is that on a full moon they are very strong, and in Lou's case, he's incredibly horny and fertile. Is that the fertile? What's the word I'm looking for?
Fertile?
No.
Oh,
Virile.
Virile. Yeah.
right.
Say it again.
Virile?
That's the one. One where he can just go all night.
Bam, 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 bam,
Stamina for days.
bam, bam, bam. And
yeah.
again,
Is that
why
coming each time?
Yes.
or-
Yeah.
Because what's his record?
Okay.
6 or was it 8?
I can't remember.
It was a lot.
But also the knot locks it inside, so
Right.
like he can just keep going,
Mm-hmm.
and like it doesn't come out. He just keeps going, and you think this is a bad thing? Like this is why I want to have sex with a werewolf.
And here's the thing too, because I think that's wasted on men. On the receiving end.
Oh, I was like, how is it wasted on men?
No, it's wasted on men on the receiving end. So like Neil getting a knot in his butt is just like, well, that's lame because you can only come like once and then you gotta wait and then whatever. It's like fuck off.
But I mean, you could have prostate orgasms, can't you?
Multiple though? I don't know because I
don't
feel
know.
like
It's a good
Hard to say.
question.
hard to say because I think it's also different for people.
Isn't Neil a person?
Sorry,
Versus humans?
Sorry, it's different for every person.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
think every person is consistent in that regard.
Well, I mean, women aren't. Not every. Anyway, yes.
Correct.
But also breeding kink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because men can't get pregnant doesn't mean you shouldn't try.
Oh yeah. That's still one of the best scenes I've ever read.
What? Scene? Are we
I
talking
read-
about this? We already talked about it.
No, I read a book that Rachel won't read, and Salt Kiss by Sierra Simone, and the guy owns a sex club, and the other guy, so Mark owns a sex club, and Tristan is his bodyguard. And so because Mark owns a sex club and Tristan's going to be following him around, he makes Tristan sign a
NDA?
no,
A horny waiver.
a consent form, essentially, like to different things that he consents and does not consent to viewing.
Oh, okay.
While he's in the club, so that so that Mark knows Tristan's comfort level. And so when all the things that Tristan marks off are things that he feels he can't be professional around, and so they have this conversation about breeding kink in particularly, and how, what about it is it that you like? And it's not just like the act of getting pregnant. It was a really interesting conversation, which it really breaks my soul that you won't read the book.
It's an age gap one.
Yes.
A really bad age gap one.
Well, no, but she's in her 20s in this book.
I thought Ashton was the one that hated the age gap.
No,
thing.
I'm the age gap. Ashton is
I
like
hate
littles.
age play.
Yeah.
Rachel also hates
Oh,
age play.
so Ashton's okay when it's real age differences.
Realistic. Anyway. But they talk.
Call out hour.
But they talk about like the whys of it and the hows of it, and like he's like, no, I also want to be bred. Like it's about the owning, and it's like, yes, that's exactly what that's
Nailed it,
about.
100%.
So like,
It's about owning the breed thing?
Yeah.
Oh.
Because men have breeding kinks with other men. It's a thing.
yeah,
Why is it called breeding then?
Because you're ejaculating into somebody without.
it's the
protection.
act
Yeah,
of
yeah.
breeding. It's just like when you're reading a book.
I feel like it should be something different.
For guys specifically.
No, just in general. Because if it's like because of the owning part, like
That's a component of it. It's not
Yeah,
the entirety of it.
impregnating
the,
someone isn't like owning.
Well, but you're not
them.
actually impregnating them in this case. So
Not
that's
all
what
the time.
it's. Yeah, not all the time. But like the breeding kink itself, at its core,
The act of
yeah,
breeding.
is basically a man being
Unprotected.
unprotected sex is really what it's like bareback, but like it's
Cream
more
Pie City.
yeah.
Yes.
Next time on the Queens of Spice, Cream Pie City.
And that's the name of the episode.
I love it.
Cream Pie City.
If I ever have a city, it's gonna be called Cream Pie City.
Oh man, I want to.
Rachel's gonna start playing fucking Sims.
So why? So you won't read it because it has.
The age
gap?
gap is like intense.
What is it?
When
I
they-
want to read it because Rachel won't read it.
in the novella. She's like 18 and he's 34. I think.
That's nothing.
But then in the book itself, she graduates university, and so she's actually in her 20s, and he's close to 40.
Okay, whatever. I graduated university and I was like 33. So, come on, let's just pretend that.
Hilarious.
I can see though, because you got like keep
That's
in
not even
mind.
that's not even true. I was like 35 or 6.
So after Michael and Roland leave, Dagobert is straight up like, okay, liar, liar, pants on fire. You're obviously not in a relationship because Neil does not smell like you at all.
Yep.
Which means you've never railed him. So what is going on here?
Which means you need to rail him.
Yes, and that was the thing because Birdie, I'm gonna call him Birdie.
Please call him Birdie.
Anyway,
Because ain't nobody gonna believe ya.
well, so and Dagobert specifically because like heightened senses as a vampire, especially or like, and he could read humans' minds, so he knows. He's like, no one is gonna believe this or buy this, especially the twins, unless you guys stink of each other. So get on that ASAP.
On each other.
And he's like, it's also a full moon coming up, so like maybe make use of that if you can. Great idea. Because again, you can just go all night.
Boning.
Bow
chicka wow wow.
So
Naughting.
yeah.
Hill.
So the next day, they stay overnight at the floral shop because the next morning Neil has to call everyone to come in to get their
yeah.
stuff because he got to close. He's closing the place for like a week. And
This
like-
is where you realize Isba is a thing.
yes.
Isba?
So
Yeah.
Isba is the name of the house
The house is
or the shop,
alive.
I should say. The shop is alive. They say it's possessed or enchanted, I think is what they decide on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I feel like possessed is bad, but enchanted could be good or
Yeah,
bad.
it's an enchanted house
He
and
likes Neil. He thinks Neil's his
he
best
thinks
friend.
Neil's great. He does not like Lou.
No.
The house?
Yeah.
And the house wants to have a sleepover with,
Yeah, he does.
with Neil.
What
So-
house is this?
Isba, the house.
The house.
Sorry, the shop. It's the flower shop.
Oh, okay.
The place where he lives.
It's like a 3-story building.
Right.
And so like the first floor is the flower shop. The second floor is where Neil lives, like it's an apartment. And then the third floor is a different business that's accessible out back by a freight elevator.
Which
right,
is-
and they're
which-
the ones that make noise.
They make
at
noise at like
3
3
a.m.
o'clock in the morning.
Which
yeah.
is extra funny when you realize the house is actually like sentient and Neil destroyed a wall trying to fuck a dildo attached to it.
But it was funny because Isba, when he mentioned it to Isba, like offhand, Isba was like, I don't know what you're talking about. And then carried on because Isba, Shiloh has taught Isba, because Shiloh knows about the house.
Aw, don't judge or shame.
Well, no, he actually not even that. He said privacy is important. And so he
Oh.
doesn't snoop. And so he doesn't know what's going on the third floor either. Because like Isba only deals with the flower shop and that's it. And so
Isba's a
Isba's
good
also the
house.
one.
Only the flower shop, so not even upstairs.
No, he does. He like closes his eyes to it, for
Right.
lack of a better term, so that he gives them their privacy.
Upstairs too.
Yes, all
Okay.
like the apartment and the third floor. And Isba is the one who does all the flower arrangements and stuff. So he's the one that manages it.
Right, and is he also the one that wrote the note?
He
Yes.
is. Yeah, he's the guy.
Because he communicates through Rolodexes and sandwich boards.
It's so good.
I love sandwiches.
Sandwiches are really good. If you like, I think sandwiches are the one food that I would eat forever because they're so versatile.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, is the taco a sandwich? Maybe.
Maybe it depends on the context. Like a hot dog would be a sandwich potentially.
Would a cheesecake cake be a sandwich?
It could be because it's layers.
Because it's 2 pieces of cake and a cheesecake in between.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
I would call that a cake. Or I would call
Well,
that.
you need to have
sandwich.
like probably like icing or something.
Cheesecake.
Well, but then
Well,
there's, like-
no, not all sandwiches have condiments. So.
It's true.
You could just put the condiments.
As long
in
as
between
there's
the
like a
layers.
carb and something in between. I think that's all it
A
is.
quesadilla is definitely.
Oh,
a sandwich.
100%.
Oh man, I fucking love quesadillas.
And like you know those oatmeal sandwiches that have the cream, like the oatmeal cookies. And
they don't sell those here anymore.
I'm sad for you. You should.
Do they have them there?
I'm gonna find them. Now that you said that,
Because-
I'm gonna go look for them
I don't know.
because I am obsessed with those. I'll eat a whole box.
I
They
don't
used to
dead.
have them at the dollar store. They
Ooh.
oatmeal cream pies.
Fuck, they're good. Mm.
What?
It's the best cream pie you'll ever have.
It's the only cream pie I really want. I'm not gonna lie.
I want a cream pie from Lou.
Tough but
We
fair.
know, but these are even better.
If he had oatmeal cookies on his top and bottom, I would like that too. Thank you. Because then he's a sandwich.
I don't feel like Lou's hot. I don't
He-
feel like any of these people are hot.
He's like 6'6", I think. He's incredibly tall, and he's got dark hair and like scruffy dark beard, whatever.
I picture him being old,
He's not
like
he's like
Ollivander. I think
What?
The
because
wand
the
guy?
wand chooses the wizard.
No, he would be
Lou
like,
is an old man name.
oh Lewis, I guess. I mean, he's a werewolf. I don't know what you want from me.
He's gray.
No, he's black.
He's old and gray. He's a black man.
He's a black werewolf.
Oh, what?
He's a black werewolf on the cover.
Oh,
I picture like Robert De Niro in Heat.
is that a movie or is he
Wow.
like in Heat?
Wow. That was good. I meant the movie.
I'm not very good at movies.
Context is really important.
I know, but that was a
And
good one. That was good.
In my heart of hearts, I know Heat is a movie with Robert De Niro because I've seen it. However, given the context of this book, that is not where my brain hole went.
I know, me either. After I said it, that was good.
I want to see Robert De Niro in Heat. Hell yeah.
I mean, maybe not now.
No, but when he was in Heat, that would have been great.
Or
Jesus.
like,
My brain just
Maybe
broke.
he's like Keanu Reeves.
yeah.
Keanu was aged brilliantly.
In
John
Heat.
Wick.
Yeah,
There we go.
That isn't that Keanu Reeves? Yeah.
Yeah, John
But the
Wick.
character John Wick,
Yeah,
which
because he has a bit. His hair is a bit longer. Is he wearing a ponytail or something?
he does on occasion, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like kind of longer, yeah.
Oh, and he's so hot because he avenged his dog's death.
Right?
I was
That's
gonna
the
say
only
you don't
thing I
get to
know about
call Lou hot because you just said he looked like Ollivander. So you don't.
I mean, you know, Ollivander was a hottie in his day.
Okay, back on track, kids. So the next day, after they, sleep together in the same bed but don't do anything weird, however, Neil wakes up smooshed against Lou, obviously.
Oh my God, his tallywhacker trickery.
Oh my god.
He
Yeah.
he says
He makes Flanders promise.
he tells Flanders that if Lou gets too close to him with his wang wizardry, then Flanders needs to roast him.
Specifically.
Roast him?
Yeah, like light him on fire. Yeah, Flanders breathes fire because he's a
Okay.
hellhound.
Tallywhacker trickery, wang wizardry, and schlong sorcery.
Mm-hmm. You got it.
Long sorcery.
I'm impressed with the fact I remember.
I can't
that.
believe you remember. I'm so pleased.
What
Good
was
girl.
that one?
Tallywhacker trickery.
Mm-hmm.
Tallywhacker. That's a nickname for a penis?
Yes,
now?
it sure is.
Tallywhacker.
Yeah. You ever heard that before?
No.
Oh, I heard that when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, so that goes way back.
Who the fuck's talking to you about tallywhackers when you're a kid? That's
Other kids?
No.
Why you gotta be weird?
Why you gotta be weird?
Probably
that's-
Ashton. Are you kidding?
I mean, that's fair. Did I tell you about what I was? I know. I'm sorry. I was driving home with my son and his two friends, and my son turned to his two friends in the backseat of the car and was like, if you guys ever have any questions about sex or porn, my mom's a great person to ask. She knows a lot about that stuff.
So I want to.
That's really good of him to say, though.
It is very good of him to say.
You should be open about those things.
I also think that this is history repeating itself, because let's be honest.
I know.
Right? Because your mom taught sex ed.
If I wanted to ask anyone about
that's who I would have asked.
Whackers, I'd be
But
asking
that's the
your
point.
mom.
That's the point Rachel's trying to make. Who would be talking to her about tallywhackers? Probably me.
Probably Ashton. So the next day, they close up the shop. Lou has a business meeting he has to go attend to. And Neil comes with him, obviously, because Neil's going everywhere with him.
Yeah.
He will not let him out of his sight because of the reliquary.
Mates.
Well, there's that, too. And the reliquary has to come with him.
Because they're mates.
Because they're mates now.
They're fake still, though, right?
Fake
They are
mates.
still currently fake mates.
Is that why they slept in the bed together, though, so they could get their scent on each other?
No.
So they haven't tried to do that yet?
No.
Okay.
Yet.
Not yet.
And not yet. And
Who the fuck's the owner?
owner of what?
Shiloh, his uncle.
Shiloh, his uncle?
Yeah.
He's away on he goes on
Sabbatical?
month-long trips. I think that a lot of them are exploration trips too, to go find, because this is where he found a cactus. When the cactus that Lou needed, he brought it back from a trip or something. Yeah, specifically.
He just reminds me of a Uncle Traveling Matt from the Fraggles.
Oh God, that's we're digging deep on that one. Down a Fraggle Rock.
Dance your cares away. He's foreign.
We're showing their age so bad right now.
I've never actually seen that show before.
We can no longer be friends.
No, we're gonna watch it together. I haven't seen Fraggle Rock in ages. Okay, so he goes to this business meeting. The meeting is about a
Is this in the hospital?
no, this is later. The hospital's later. They go to this meeting at a warehouse that they use as an office.
Oh, right.
And Michael pulls out has a bag that he pulls out, a duffel bag.
Is a warehouse like...
No, Jacqueline.
That was a good question, though.
Bucket nuts is rubbing off on you. I think that was
That's
grade
what
A
happens when
joke.
they go to sleep.
That was bad.
And it was such a dad joke. So Michael opens up this duffel bag and there's a guy in it. And the guy that's in it is like...
A dead guy?
No, he's a live guy.
Oh, okay.
He is getting in trouble because he's a drug... He sells drugs.
Yes.
But he's selling drugs on the wrong side of the line, as it were. Because the mafia... the Monstros and the Mostros in this point have turf. They do not sell drugs on certain lines because they don't want it in these school areas or the districts or stuff so they're trying to keep it copacetic.
They're being responsible drug dealers.
They're basically
they have to keep order to a certain degree in order to protect the monsters. So if they let everything go fucking hellbent and crooked, then the cops are going to start getting involved, and then it's going to...
Because I don't even think this guy's a monster. He's not. He's a human.
I don't think so.
And
this goes to the other thing, and then...
That's right. And Lou is in his human form in front of him, so he has no idea who Lou... he just knows who he is, as a mob boss, basically.
You get some good fucking clients at schools, though, so...
Oh, God. So... Jesus.
How do you know this?
No one can see, but she's making the eyeballs. So, anyway, so they basically kick his ass and or if you do this again, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And he's like, yeah, cool, I won't do that. And then they're because they were trying to push a new drug. And this is where it comes back to some other people who are trying, the Smiths, I think their name is. The Smiths are trying to infringe on this territory of pushing this new drug or whatever out into the people. And this is the part I had completely skipped over. This part. This is important. The rebelli, which is
they're the
original
people who attacked the thing.
The people who attacked the flower shop in the beginning it's a rebellion it's a rebellion against the family, which is the Mostros.
And Neil always calls it by the wrong name.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
I should have written them down because there's 100 of them. He calls them the ravioli and the
it's like having a conversation with Jacqueline.
It is. It's hilarious. It's so good.
It really is.
And to the point that Myrna at the end of it, she's like, you said it right. At the end of the book, it was very funny.
Yeah.
And so this was the original attack because they're trying to get the reliquary as well.
Yes.
Now that it's in someone else's hands, they're like, well, we need to get that off his wrist because it's the power of the guy that's in charge, and we need to have it in order to overthrow them. the rebellion, like they think this drug sale thing is kind of tied into the rebellion, so this is why they're looking into it. And in the meantime, like both Michael and Roland are like trying to find out where these people are operating and what's going on and that kind of stuff. So the rebellion in general is like, you know, we have the rebellion, we have the plague, and we have these drugs now. It's like, so there's just three aspects that are going on in the background of this book that are like super serious. So
Very serious.
then we go to
They have sex.
the hospital before any panky happens. And they
Panky?
hanky.
Oh, I thought you called it panky. Is that
Panko
like,
panky.
Is that like panko chips?
Panko chips.
Like the stuff. Oh, never mind.
Breadcrumbs?
Yeah.
Breadcrumbs. I will say too that like obviously this is a fake relationship going on, and Neil is supposed to be seen and not heard in those things. But like the connection between the two of them is pretty fucking obvious. And to that point, I think they go out for dinner at one point.
Yeah.
To like a fancy restaurant to be seen in public because they have to be seen as mates. And the rebellies show up again.
Lou dresses Neil up
Yes,
in
he
like
does.
fancy nice clothing.
Oh, he buys him clothing
But not
too.
blue, right?
Actually, Neil picks blue, I think,
think
because he
so.
specifically was like, I remember you saying to wear blue, so I wore
Yeah.
blue, and then
And
he does
then
the flower trick, and this
Lou-
is where,
yeah, and he gets cagey.
yeah, it's very funny. And he does take him out for dinner, and so the rebellies show up at that dinner too to like cause shit.
At Dagobert's place.
No, it wasn't Dagobert's. They go to Dagobert's like the following night or something.
Oh man,
It's a different
I'm
night.
Very confused.
You know what? I'll say there's a lot packed into this book.
Yeah.
Like it's 400 pages, and
Holy shit.
yeah, it's fairly long and involved.
I know. I really enjoy the whimsy. It was the whimsy for me.
Yeah, and like the magic system and I should say too, this is the first book in the series.
I don't think there's any more out
There aren't any announced, but this is Familia Monstro book series. So like there's gonna be more books, I think. Only because they named the series. And
Yeah.
so like you don't name a series unless you're gonna write more books about it.
Oh,
That seems kind of dangerous, though.
To start as like have one book in a series.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing though. Like they did a lot, like Hiers did a lot of world building in this with like the monsters and the systems and like even at the end of the book too, like Shiloh kind of has a spin-off with one of the other characters, and I'm like, okay, we're gonna be getting more books out of this for sure. Because like, why would you set up this huge magic system and this huge like universe and not like capitalize on that?
Right.
Well, that.
I guess I just meant like if it doesn't do well.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
I mean, but at the same time, like, there's tons of people that write series, and like, just because the books don't do well, doesn't mean you stop writing.
That's true.
Well, not only that, but if they were a brand new author with nothing else out there, like they have a full catalog of
One
books.
of my favorite titles ever is one of the books they've written,
The 12 Days.
The 12 Days of Squidmas. They write monster romance. Like Hiers writes monster romance. That's all they write.
Yeah.
Is a squid a monster, though? Or
Yeah,
is it?
Kraken.
Yeah,
Isn't it-
Kraken. Like that would be
Oh.
the yolk. I think they wrote the Cold Hard Cash series. I think is the
Yes.
first series. Is that not? I don't think that's monsters.
I don't know. I was literally just scrolling through on Goodreads and I did not pick it up.
And then they did the Suckers for Love mystery series, and like which are all dudes with tentacles. But
They have a Ruthless Daddies series.
yeah, they do. I believe me, like it's-
Ruthless.
Yeah. After reading this and then looking into some of the stuff they write, I'm like, I kind of need to read some more of their stuff because the writing's like decent.
Yeah.
And it's all fleshed out, which I think is the thing that really got me. Except for one part of this book that's not fleshed out. And it's the tiramisu continuity.
Oh my
What?
God.
Because I sat down and read this book almost in one sitting, like on Sunday or whatever. Believe me, I sat down and read it like well over half of it in one sitting.
I love when Rachel's like, I'm not a fast reader.
I did that over an entire day, like 8 hours. Like it was a lot. And
Dude, that's still fast.
I didn't read all of it. Anyway, I read a big chunk of it in on a Sunday. And so because of that, I was like in the zone and I was like,
Oh, yeah, but
because
you
sometimes, you catch things, right?
you
and
pay
you
attention.
paid closer attention or like you just remember like stupid idiosyncrasies that happen in the book. And one of the things I caught was the tiramisu continuity error. Because at one point it's funny because I wrote the page down. It's like page 97. Lou gets him a big meal of whatever he wants.
Oh.
And it's like, oh God, what was it? It was like steak and like
I want
mac and
that.
cheese or something. Anyway, before dessert, it was tiramisu, and he ate all of it. They specifically said he ate all of this stuff, including the tiramisu. And then, like fast forward 150 pages later, he's like,
To
I can't wait to try.
211.
I can't wait and to try tiramisu because I've never had it before. And I'm like, wait a second. You've totally had tiramisu before 100 pages ago. What is this nonsense? And sure enough, I flip back because I'm like, wait. And sure enough, he's like, he ate the tiramisu. And I'm like,
Maybe he was in like a food coma and he just didn't remember or didn't know what it was called at the time.
High off of pheromones.
could be. Who
There
knows?
is alcohol in tiramisu.
Yep. Anyway,
This is just like in the very first episode of Queens of Spice when we were talking about the Mountain Man book and the guy's last name was 2 different last names.
fuck, that was funny.
Damn.
Wow.
Also, this is episode 40, by the way.
Wow.
So that was 39 episodes ago.
That's fucked.
Yeah, and they average about 2 hours now, so it's a long time.
Oh,
It's a lot of
man.
recording. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that up because it bothered me.
That is.
And then they had
yeah,
sex
I don't like that either.
Oh, they did. Yeah, they do.
several times.
We're getting to the point where like they start doing it a lot. Oh, they go to the hospital. That's important. So he takes Neil to the hospital, and the hospital is like in a. Okay, so it's a monster hospital. So they go to the library and they walk through a very super secret door that goes into a hospital because it's all hidden. Because again, these things don't exist because humans don't know about them.
And humans don't go to libraries anymore because we have the internet and bookstores.
Facts.
I mean, here's the thing: I go to libraries for not books.
Shush. You don't.
I have. I've
Nope.
got.
Never.
She goes to the libraries. To
Not
have sex.
since monsters have taken them over.
With their hospitals. Got it.
Or maybe she does because that's where she goes to hook up with the monsters.
God, I wish. Okay. So they go into
Rachel's so naughty.
that's me.
K-N-O-T-T-Y.
So they go into this hospital, and there's a special wing dedicated to monsters, specifically like the terrestrials. And in that, there is a wing dedicated to the plague victims that we talked about earlier.
And it's only Wares being affected.
Well, and so Lou specifically goes through and talks to everybody, and he gets Neil to summon Sawbones. And Sawbones, like his ability, part of his ability is that he can cure most things.
he can
and
create the cure.
He can create the cure for most things, but even still, like, so Lou takes Sawbones through the hospital, and he,
I just thought about him creating the band The Cure.
sick.
Sorry.
I love that. So, but even still, like Lou takes him through the hospital, and he heals like everybody of everything they have. Like there's stuff like the common cold and like even broken limbs and stuff. Like he can help them heal.
Yeah.
And so like he does stuff like that as well. And then they go into the plague area. And this is before they can actually heal the victims. This is like the day before. And because like it has to be on that waning moon.
Right, okay.
Thank you.
But there was something wrong with the cactus the last time they tried to do this.
Yeah, this is where you find out too that the last, because it's a month, like they healed quote unquote the plague one time, and then the second time it didn't work because it's been like a monthly occurrence. Like every month they have to come in and heal. Like more people get sick.
Oh, there's like a new strain.
Well, no, it's an ongoing thing.
Oh.
They can't figure out what's
and they
causing
can't
it.
figure out what's causing it because like Michael and Roland have been looking into it as well, and they can't figure this out. Like, so they go through and this is where you find out about the cactus. They on the second time they try to heal it, and Neil find like they have the pot there in this room that they had been using for it, and Neil's like, this is bleach in the bottom of this pot. Like, did somebody pour bleach onto the cactus before? And Lou's like, what the fuck? But was it the acrobat? He brings the acrobat out because the acrobat has this ability. Not only is she batshit insane, they call her Batty, but she jumps around everywhere like an acrobat. But she has this, right?
Oh yeah.
She has this ability to like consume something and then tell you what it's made of, which is kind of a weird thing. Yes, but in this case, she eats the planter. And she's like, yeah, there's bleach in the planter. Like, that's bleach. And he's like, okay. Because here's the thing. In the, like, monsters specifically have really heightened senses. And so they smell everything. And so,
Right.
like, you put a monster inside of a hospital and everything smells like death. And so they over bleach everything in the hospital so stuff doesn't smell as horrendous as usual.
Because bleach smells delightful.
I love the smell of bleach. Are you kidding? So they...
Oh, I wasn't being sarcastic.
Oh.
I do too.
Okay, good. I know I walked in earlier, your house smells like bleach. And I'm like, yes, I'm here. And anyway, so So Lou specifically points out that like, oh yeah, like so smelling bleach in this hospital wouldn't be out of the ordinary, but in the pot that the cactus came out of, that's bad, which means somebody compromised it.
Pouring bleach on a plant is not good.
Super kills it in this case.
I think it kills it in most cases.
Yeah, in this specific case, absolutely. So that's when they find out that somebody had compromised it, which means they've got someone on the inside who's a monster who's been tampering with this shit.
A rebellion.
And so this is why they're like, there's someone that, like, there's a rebellion agent somewhere in here that's like fucking shit up. They go back through the logs and they try to like suss out who this is. And that's an ongoing thing in the background.
Yes, because the bad guy always signs the log.
Well, but so in this, anyway, a little tidbit in this one, it's not a log that you sign. It's like when you walk through a certain doorway, it marks you. Like it's all magic, right? And so
okay.
it logs that this,
Like when you pull the fire alarm.
kind of like that. Kind of like that, but magical. Yeah, you get ink on your hands. You ever do that? That's why you don't pull fire alarms.
I've never pulled a fire alarm, so no, I've never had ink
That's
on my hands.
why you don't pull fire alarms, because you'll get ink on your hands.
Yeah.
I thought it was when you don't rob a bank because the bags have like ink things inside them and it'll explode.
Yeah, they have
all
ink bags. Yeah, that's also a thing.
Okay.
On TV, at least.
Yeah, I don't know about real life. I've never robbed a bank either.
She's so, like, mortified at the thought of pulling a fire alarm, but she's like, oh, doesn't that happen when you rob a bank?
Different strokes for different folks.
Fuck the patriarchy.
Eat the rich.
Yeah.
Nom nom nom. Rich.
Have sex.
So they leave the hospital. They go and do it, of course.
How many pages is this? They'd fucking do it already, finally.
Let's see.
Already.
Oh my god, y'all.
Quarter of the way in.
We are a quarter of the way in this book. Buckle them seatbelts.
So
Turbulence is a-coming.
they do it a couple times.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Nodding in the butt.
Nodding in the butt.
Getting their
Um,
scents all over each
That's
other.
literally it. Because the next time they see Birdie's like, I've seen you've been busy.
Oh,
Creepy. Well, they go to Birdie's club,
Yeah. And the twins are there.
and the twins are there with somebody. Someone else is there too.
No. The Hess is there
Cereal?
with the cereal
Mhm.
because one of the were people are like, "Hey,"
How you doing?
to cereal, and Hess is like,
Yeah, was it Rowan?
Roland?
Yeah, Roland. Sorry,
Yeah.
I can't remember. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Somebody's all like, he's
Well,
not
and this is
good.
where you meet Birdie's progeny.
He's the one.
Luke?
He's the one.
No, it's not Luke. What's his freaking name? I didn't write it down.
He's the one that's all like smitten with cereal.
I think you're right. So they go and have their lovely dinner
Yes.
and drinks at the club.
Yes.
And Birdie comes over and he's just like, I see you've been busy. Because they've been doing it.
yeah, they have.
He's succumbed to the tallywhacker trickery.
And it's very funny because at one point, Flanders is like, do you want me to roast him? And he's like, no, Flanders, it's okay. Don't roast him.
Flanders this entire time is still giving Neil shit because Neil
Of his Crocs. It's so funny.
He thinks, and not only that, but he thinks that his like his attire is like atrocious, and he makes fun of him for the way he dresses and all.
Does he wear Crocs to dinner?
Not in this
Oh.
case, no. Because this is the thing. So like, Lou goes out and gets him an entire wardrobe.
Yeah.
And so like, he wears nice
Daddy
clothes when they go
energy.
out. Oh yeah, big daddy energy.
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Shoes matter to people.
100%.
Robert De Niro and heat energy.
A young Robert De Niro in Heat, please.
That just means he's horny.
Amazing. Where was I? Gosh.
They're at dinner.
After they have dinner, they go and do it again.
Yeah.
Because of course they do.
Nodding in the butt. What in the butt?
Oh God. Let's see. Let's fast track this a little bit.
Okay,
So
we have to talk about the house.
we're getting there.
Isba wants to have a sleepover.
They do have a sleepover. Isba,
Watch a movie.
Well, so they go and I can't remember the timeline on that one, but so at one point when they are back at the flower shop, which I can't remember how this goes in order, but anyway, Isba's like, I want to go watch a movie. Like, I want to go have a sleepover and watch movies and stuff.
Don't they go upstairs and they're not there? Or they go upstairs to the third floor?
Trying to get the continuity on this one because there's a lot of stuff that happens and it all happens at once.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about, I mean, like, first of all, Isba wants to like watch a movie. And what are Isba's favorite movies to watch?
The one with the balloons.
The one with the balloons in the house.
Up.
Yeah. And why? Because the house gets to fly.
That's adorable.
Specifically, the conversation goes, isn't that movie really depressing? And Isba's like, no, the house flies.
Amazing.
I was reading this book while my son was at baseball practice, and I had my seat fucking put back all the way in the car with my feet on the goddamn dash, and I am busting a gut like a fucking lunatic laughing at this.
Do you remember what one of his other favorite movies is?
Yeah, The Wizard of Oz.
I was just gonna say the Wizard of Oz.
Because the house lands on the witch.
On the witch.
And
So
it flies.
And it flies.
Yeah.
Sort of.
God love Isba. Such a good character.
It's a brilliant whimsy.
Oh yeah.
All of the whimsy.
Very good.
There must be other good house movies.
There's a couple of them they cite in the book, which I
Okay.
don't remember off the top of my head.
So wait, so where does Isba? How can they?
Okay.
He, she.
So Isba can enchant certain objects that are attached to its house,
Okay.
like his own house. So Neil takes the Rolodex with him,
Oh.
and then when he puts the Rolodex in Lou's house, Isba can like kind of eep into that house a bit and do
To
things.
watch the movie.
Yeah.
Because
Is that
Lou's gonna do something, doesn't he? And so he leaves Isba with
Mhm.
Neil as like a protection kind of thing.
Yes.
is Lou's house also enchanted?
No. Isba is a very powerful enchantment. So
Okay.
and he specifically cites that like it's really hard to manipulate Lou's condo, but he can do it
Okay.
because he's very powerful.
And he really wants to watch a movie.
He really does.
Okay.
He really likes Neil.
So they end up curing the plague. They get the cactus. They get Sawbones to help do the cure. Michael and Roland bring in the stuff they need. It's like a whole pig and some other weird shit. It's a big concoction. Like it's magic, right?
It's been a while since Rachel's read the book, so she can't remember.
I know, 6 days.
I would normally remember all the things that are in it, so I can only remember the big pig for some reason.
The big pig.
It has to be a huge, like it's a
You can
duffel
be a
bag
big
and
pig,
pig.
too.
I was just thinking about that.
Eat
too.
my buddy, pull my his big treat.
All you gotta do is get in line. Yep.
For
some
some
bacon.
bacon.
Yep. He's a big pig. Yep. You can be a big pig too.
Aw, Timon and Pumbaa.
Jesus. Okay.
They had sex.
So they deal with the plague situation. Plague. They got rid of it. They heal all these people from plague, save their lives.
And they realize what caused the plague.
So they are working to figure out what causes the plague, and they had Francis kind of like try to figure out all of the similarities in all the plague victims. And Lou at one point comes home and throws the docket down, and then Neil picks it up and starts looking through it. There's a weird thing that happened that when Neil first moved to town, Shiloh took Neil on a tour of the entire town to see the award-winning azalea
Azaleas.
bushes.
Azaleas.
And so Neil goes through this docket of everyone, like where they lived and worked, etc., and pieced together that these all have public-facing azalea bushes that are like looked after in public domain. And so,
oh shit.
and so he's like, "Do you think they like sprayed the azalea bushes down with plague?" And then they go out and dig up one of the azalea bushes, and sure enough, Myrna helps them figure out that there's fucking plague in it.
She's the one that eats it, right?
No,
Or
the
smells
acrobat eats it. Myrna
Oh.
is just like, she's like the 50s housewife.
Oh.
Yeah.
The architect also eats things, but he also spits them out and like the
He puts them
vomit
back
creates
together. Yeah.
Listen, again, this comes down to like the whimsy and like
The vomit creates the what?
Well, no, sorry. So when say a wall breaks, he picks the pieces of the wall up and chews them up and then spits them back out to remake the wall.
he vomits it out.
Fuck, I wish I could do that.
Yeah, right?
But this like even down to like the azalea bush component of it is like you're reading it and you're like, really? Like azalea bushes? But it adds to the whimsy of it. It's like if I were reading something else, this might seem like ludicrous, but it fits.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh my God. And of course, like Neil would be like, oh my God, these azalea bushes. It just, I like the way it was like.
Because you think he doesn't know fuck all about plants.
Yeah.
But then he's like, oh, like, look, azaleas.
Dick.
And-
azalea.
And Uncle Shiloh
Dickzalia.
taught him stuff.
Dickzalia.
Oh, I should mention too, Uncle Shiloh is like a powerful wizard.
Oh.
And so like he is
We don't
well
find that
known
out
in
till
the
later.
You
Is
don't-
he
yeah.
the one that enchanted the house?
No.
No.
So Isba, you find out, has been enchanted like forever.
Oh.
So Isba's
born
like
with an enchantment.
Isba is an ancient being from the other.
So
Ping pang, walla walla bing bang.
Oh my
Ping
goodness.
pang, walla
Oh,
walla
we
bing bang.
definitely went to two different places there.
Where'd you go?
Yeah,
Nice.
no, I was with Rachel. I don't know what the fuck that was.
It was from George of the Jungle.
Yes, it is.
Oh.
The live action, even with
Yeah.
friggin' what's his face,
Brendan Fraser.
Oh, I
Swoon.
fucking hate that guy.
Really?
What?
Yes,
Aw.
we've talked about this before.
Yeah, that's
I
fair.
love Brendan Fraser.
I'm sorry. I know that he's supposedly a good guy and all that, so I take back 90% of my hate, but I just
Supposedly
can't.
a good guy.
Well, I don't know him. I've never met him.
I've never met Tom Hanks, but he's like
Everybody's uncle.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got total wife guy energy. Did you see the video
100%.
where like somebody pushed his wife and he fucking lost it? And I'm like, man, yes.
Where was I going with all of this?
Oh, I had a question.
Oh, sorry. What was your question?
Ooh-ee.
Yeah, right. So if what's it called, Isba, if like the house dies or something, or if it's like burns down, like can Isba go enchant a new house or something? Like
I don't
because
think
it's been
so.
around for so long, I'm assuming that the house is not like 4 million years old when all the other ones are like 20 years.
I
old.
can't speak to that. It is. He is from the other. Like he is not from this plane of existence. That's all I can tell you about it.
Okay, so maybe
Oh,
we'll
we're not
find
gonna
out
tell
in
her
a
who it is?
future book.
Well, we're getting there.
Okay.
We're going to talk about Isbeth some more later. Don't worry about it. You'll
Oh my
learn some
goodness,
things
I'm
about
sorry,
them.
I'm sorry.
They figure out the azalea bushes situation.
They fix it.
They fix it as much as they can in that Birdie burns down the warehouse where the pesticide / plague, in this case, because they figured out there was plague in there, where they were being stored.
Yes.
And they can almost track this back to the Rebelli people.
Almost.
Because Michael had noticed that in the hospital when they were supposed to be protecting the cactus the previous month, he noticed a suspicious person around. I can't remember who it was specifically.
Roland.
No, it was somebody else.
No.
And
Francis.
The warehouse.
it was not the warehouse. And so they went to find out who that guy was, and they found out that he was connected back to this, like, he was one of the people that worked at Public Works that would have access to this plague situation.
Claude.
And so he was part of the Rebelli. However, he is dead, which is
Yeah.
problematic. Something else that happens in this meantime. I'm going to try to like race through this because it's a lot.
I was going to say, there's a lot
There's
of
a
stuff.
lot. So another thing is that Michael and he sends Michael back to he sends Birdie back to the scene of when the Rebelli attacks, like the original ones. And Birdie picks up a dragon scale.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
And there's only one dragon in this entire place. And Lou is specifically like, somebody missed this on purpose. Because you can smell a dragon miles and miles away if you're a wereperson. So that means that someone investigating that original site is part of the Rebelli or is neglecting their job. So the two of the people he thinks, like, I'm pretty sure at this point he thinks it's Michael. Only because, like, he was present in a lot of these things. And so they go and talk to the dragon, what's her name?
You could feel her. Like,
Minnie Moore?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Minnie Moore.
No, Minnie Moore. You could feel her like underneath.
So she owns a bar.
Yeah.
Where all the were people go, and humans go there sometimes on occasion.
I thought that cereal thing owned a bar.
No, Dagobert owns a bar.
Oh.
Cereal?
Cereal.
Oh, right, cereal. Okay.
I actually called it cereal earlier.
Tough but fair. So they go to this bar, and they speak with Minnie. She's a dragon. And they're like, you have to treat a dragon with fucking respect. And the fact that there is a dragon in this town is kind of a big deal. You have to kind of tread lightly. You can't go pointing fingers, and you can't go be like... Anyway, they trace that back to a human.
This your scale,
Smiths.
bitch.
And the human is one of the Smiths.
Yeah.
And so the Smiths are the drug dealer people. And they find out that the Smiths have been selling drugs out of the third story of the flower place. And so
Isba, you should have opened your eyes.
Lisba was giving them their privacy. And
I
so
know.
Anyway, so at this point, though, Isba works together with Neil and Lou to, like, go find out who's working upstairs, basically. And this is where...
There are people there.
Yeah. And so it's... Well, at present, when they go up, there's only one person working there. And all he's doing is, like, quality testing the drugs or something.
Cleaning up the meth lab.
More or less. So Neil brings out the romantic.
Yeah.
And the romantic has this ability to basically make humans specifically do anything at all, like tell the truth, jump off a bridge, etc.
Oh.
It doesn't work on monsters quite as well. There's like kind of a saving role for it, for lack of a better term, but humans get like no save and they just like have to obey.
That's a D&D thing.
That's a D&D pun. They go upstairs. They get the entire deal from this guy. He tells them like who the Smiths are, what they're going on to, about the drugs that are going on, etc. And how they're trying to basically infiltrate. They're trying to push the boundaries so that Lou gets in trouble, basically. Like, he gets in shit. Anyways, it's this big conspiracy thing in the background of the whole thing. Basically trying to, like, dethrone Lou. Like, again, with the rebellion and everything, too, it's like everyone's going after Lou to try to bring him down.
Even though he doesn't currently have the wrist bracelet thingy?
Well, this is why the rebellion keeps attacking, because they know he doesn't have it. They know that Neil has it. And so this is why they're like, because, I don't know if you knew this, there's a traitor in their midst. So back to the hospital logs.
No!
All of the hospital logs have been wiped for that particular night. So there's like no indication of who was even present. So like obviously some shit is going awry here.
Uh-oh.
And so we get to the point where Michael has been like, so this is his second Michael, has been picking at him to be like, you're doing all these things behind my back. You're not telling me what's going on. Like, what is up? And he like loses trust in Lou completely. As is his right, he goes and challenges Lou in a meeting with the family to challenge him for his position, which he's allowed to do. And so when he does this, they call a big meeting. Roland is there as Michael's second.
Oh my God. Would he have to have Neil as a mate if he took over Lou's spot?
No,
because he has the
they would
bracelet
just
thingy.
they would just kill Neil. And that is the only way to get the bracelet off him. Is either Buffy chooses or they kill him. And this is why everyone's trying to rush to kill him, because you can't get the bracelet off his wrist.
Oh, so Lou could have just killed him all this time.
Yes, but
Okay.
he's super into him.
Right.
And then he started railing him,
Yeah.
so he doesn't want
Nodding
that to
his
happen.
butt.
Yeah, nodding
But
his
like
butt.
at first it was just that whole fake relationship thing.
Well, but they had like a connection, because like the reason the bracelet ended up on Neil is because they had like touched hands.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? And they were like flirting with each other and stuff. Like, it was a whole thing.
Yeah.
Um,
And he took care of his cactus, which is a huge deal.
huge deal. Definitely like a green flag, a green cactus flag.
So we're not killing Neil.
So we're back at the family. They're having a meeting. Michael challenges Lou for his position.
Yes.
So the way they do this, which is very archaic, and they say this, is that they have to like fight to the not death, but like have a fight basically. And because Roland shows up with Michael gets Roland to fight for him, because Michael knows he can't beat Lou.
Oh,
But Roland, who's a were-tiger, has a good chance against Lou. And
Dun,
so
dun,
the two of them
dun.
fight. And in the meantime, Neil is on the sidelines and he's like shit talking with fucking Michael.
amazing.
And then at one point, Michael says some shit and Neil like kicks him in the balls, which is very funny, because Neil is supposed to be there to be seen, not heard.
Right.
And so this is double funny.
I feel like he has like little pom poms and is kind of being like a little cheerleader.
I feel like he's essentially Jacqueline, like that yappy little dog that just.
Yeah, I don't think Jacqueline would like go and kick someone in the balls like that though. Like not to that extent.
You don't think?
Hard to say. Harder to say.
If Bucket Nuts was in a fight,
Oh, she definitely wouldn't.
and
For him.
if you were in a fight,
Maybe
she
for
would
me.
definitely smack talk and probably kick the person.
She
in
would
the-
certainly have a mouth on her. That's
If
for damn
she
sure.
wouldn't kick the person in the nuts, she would definitely nipple twist them.
A little bit of nip twist.
Okay,
Okay.
I would then.
Jesus. Okay. So Lou beats Roland. Fortunately, he
Yay.
like breaks his arm or something. Like he makes him yield.
Are they like tiger to wolf or
Yeah.
human to human? Okay.
No, tiger to wolf. And so after Lou wins, he banishes Michael, obviously, because he's like, the fuck, get out of here. Because he also like assumed that he maybe was the bad guy to all this too, like had to like part of the rebellion, and like he's very suspect, and he's very xenophobic against Neil specifically. Like he is not cool with humans at all.
Ugh.
Yeah. So like there's a whole
We're
like
not down for that. That's bigotry.
yeah, we don't do
Okay,
that.
did you say this is a second Neil? There's two Neil? I mean, Michaels?
No.
He
Just-
banishes Michael because
He
Michael
banishes-
challenges
No, I
him.
thought you said this
Roland?
is a second Michael.
His
before.
second
His
Michael.
second.
Michael is Lou's second in command.
Yeah,
Oh,
like
okay.
2IC.
Yes.
Yeah. So Michael gets banished. Roland gets healed by Sawbones. And
So we still like Roland?
No.
we do.
What?
Right now we do.
Oh.
So
Even though he fought?
yes, because he had to.
Because
He was obligated because
Oh,
he showed
right.
up with Michael in like as his support, and so
Right.
Michael could pick whoever he came with in order to fight.
But-
and so like a proxy, like if Lou wanted, Neil could fight for him,
Right,
but
right.
obviously why would you do that?
But so did Roland know that he was going to fight him?
No.
Oh, okay, so he kind of tricked him.
He kind of tricked him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Michael's such a dickwad.
He's a bit of a dickwad. And so he gets boofed out of here.
Boof.
And then the family is like, hey, Lou, what the fuck is going on? Because this came out of nowhere. And then they're talking about the rebellion. And there's all this other stuff going on. This is also in continuity error, I found. I didn't write this one down because I just thought of it now. There was an offhand comment about the cactus getting bleached at one point in the hospital. And it was at this fight that Lou cited somebody brought that up. And nobody mentions it at all in that fight when you read through the book. So, like, he talks about this down the road that, like, oh, yeah, well, so-and-so knew about this, the bleaching of the cactus. So, obviously, they had to be involved. And, like, he cited it later, and I came back to read it. And again, I'm like, wait, no, he didn't. Continuity error. Womp womp. Anyway. And I go way into this book.
She is so excited.
So do
I
we
love
know
finding errors.
Who's the fucking traitor?
Okay, hold on. So the family is like, what the fuck's going on? And so Lou, he's like, it's fine. I got to handle it. And they're like, you need to talk to us about this now. And he's like, okay, cool. And he just spills all of it. He tells them about the rebellion. He tells them about the drug situation.
They don't know anything?
No. But, well, the family, like, they operate in other parts of dimensions. Like, this is not their jam. And he doesn't want to seem weak in front of them because they'll take his territory, right?
The twins will fuck shit up.
Yeah, it's not good. And so he tells them everything about the plague, about all of it. And they're like, okay, we need to deal with the rebellion. Obviously this, because that's the key for all of this is them. They need to get taken down. And at some point they become a hazard to everybody in the family because, like, at this point in case, like, if they think Michael's involved in a rebellion and then he's fighting Lou for territory, then they want to overthrow the entire family. It all looks bad. And so they're like, okay, we're going to deal with this shit. So they all come up with this plan that Neil's going to be the bait because they're after the bracelet.
Oh, he's little Timon.
And of course, Neil's like, yeah, let's do this. And Lou's like, absolutely not. And the family's like, we're doing it then. And they do. So they basically, like, they put Neil, and this is where Isba shows up because
Okay, now we can talk about who Isba is.
Okay, so Q.
What?
So Q has, like, a moment at the end of this meeting where he's like, we just had our defenses just got breached by, like, an incredibly ancient being. Like, what the fuck was that? And then all of a sudden it's like,
Isba.
Isba's here!
And it's just a little Rolex?
No, like, he's, like, taking over the building. Like, this is the big, like, massive, like, business tower.
Yeah,
Like,
where
in the
Lou
middle of the
lives.
town. And, like, Q's flipping his shit. And then he finds out, he's like, oh, Isba. I haven't seen you in years. What is this? And Isba has an incredibly long, arduous name that I'm also not going to try to pronounce.
Aww.
And so, but Q is also, he's the head of the other. And so he knows who Isba is. And this is where they find out that, like, Isba is not just an enchanted house. Like, Isba's like Baba Yaga's house. Like,
The
kind
house
of
with the chicken
with
legs.
the chicken legs. He's a known
Do you,
character.
do you know who Baba Yaga is?
No! That's why my face looks like
That's
this.
what I thought. It's like, is it Romanian?
Slavic? Because they throw the brick in the house, and I think it's Slavic. Because Shiloh cites, I can't believe you fell for that Slavic hex or something.
Oh, when they did that at the very beginning.
It's actually at the end. There's this big fight that happens because Neil bait. And so they're, like, baiting the rebellion to come fight. And the first thing that happens when the rebellion show up is they throw this brick. Like, and surprise, who's the fucking
Slavic.
traitor? Is it Slavic? Okay.
Yeah, but they
Slavic-
did that at the beginning of the book.
No, they just broke the windows and fought.
Especially
in the-
Russian folktales.
It did. You're right. Like, that happened, but this is happening again.
Yeah, but isn't he saying that, like, it was like them, like, you didn't recognize it the first time they did it?
Oh, no. Well, so in this case, that's the picture of the house on legs.
Amazing.
Chicken legs.
Yeah, chicken
I love it. So they set Neil up in the house, or sorry, in the flower shop, and he's open and whatever. And there's a couple days go by, and I think at this point, because they had found out information about the drugs that were coming in on the pier, and so this was like a Friday, I think. And in the meantime, they've had a bunch of sex, and they knotted a lot of butts.
Yeah.
Same
They
butt,
should
the
really
same butt.
focus on, like, what's going on.
Really, right?
They were focusing on what's going on.
They were playing a waiting game.
Yeah.
And so
What was going on was Lou was coming in
his butt
Neil's butt.
and knotting him so that it wouldn't
Yeah.
come out for a while.
Yeah.
And then when he pulled his knot out, it would come out, and it was a whole gush, and it's a cream pie situation.
Yeah.
He tried to breed him real hard, is what I'm saying.
Sometimes they scoop it up and stick it back in with their
They
fingers.
do. Actually, he did that a couple times. Stick it back in. So they
Go back where you belong.
They go to, so Lou and I think Birdie and some others are staking out the pier where these drugs are supposed to come in to like try to foil people, and nobody shows up. The drugs are just sitting there on the pier. No one comes to pick them up. Nothing. So like this is so weird. This is like such a dead end. And so he calls Neil and tells him about this. And as he's talking on the phone with Neil, all fucking hell breaks loose at the flower shop. Somebody named Roland.
He's a dick.
He's the fucking traitor.
Whiffs a brick through the window that has, you said Slavic?
Yeah.
It has a Slavic curse on it that basically puts Isba to sleep. And he can't do anything. He can't protect him. So, of course...
So little Neil's all on his own.
Well, Neil has a reliquary, which he's going to activate.
Eugene the Fiend.
He brings Eugene the Fiend out.
Where's the dog at this point?
Fighting.
He's always fighting.
With everything.
So Buffy comes... Well, no, sorry. The Architect is out. Romantic comes out. This is where he finds out that the Rebelli have Shiloh. They kidnapped Shiloh on his way back or something. And...
Uncle Traveling Matt.
Yeah, his uncle traveling guy, who's a wizard. The acrobat comes out to kick some ass. We skipped over Bridget. I think she came out originally during the fight at the restaurant. Yeah, the princess. The princess, she literally just goes around and eats people.
Right.
That's all she does. She just eats people and chews them up and whatever.
She was, the restaurant.
And this is where Eugene the Fiend comes out. So he has to sing Sinatra in order to get Eugene to come out. And Eugene, Neil does.
And does he know this?
No, he has to. Well, he does know it because
Myrna teaches him how to do all the things.
Well, Myrna and Lou. I think Lou teaches him this one or something. He offhand mentions the Sinatra
So he doesn't
thing.
just randomly start singing Sinatra.
No, he actually has to look up lyrics for it because same. I don't know any Sinatra songs off the top of my head.
And it has to be sung in a very specific way.
Yeah, it has to be like proper Sinatra, well sung in like that register, in order to summon him.
Shit.
Yeah, that's what he says. Yeah, and he brings Sawbones out obviously. So Eugene rolls up and he just like zips off his because he's like a kind of mobster pinstripe suit kind of looking guy. Like he zips his suit off, and then he comes out in what's he like a suit? Maybe,
yeah.
And he's kind of like a horse. He's like almost like a centaur, not quite, because he does have the upper torso, but he's also like kind of a hellish looking creature.
He like drags his back legs across the ground and stuff.
It's fucked up.
It's twisted. It's fucking amazing.
It's super twisted.
So he needs a little wheelchair.
Yeah, he does.
He rolls up. And in the meantime, he's trying to summon Buffy. And the way you summon Buffy is by pronouncing her name correctly. And Buffy's real name...
You gonna try that?
Is like Boofa Gurgartus. And so you have to pronounce it correct. Yeah, right? Exactly. Exactly. And so you have to pronounce it correct for her to come out. And so Neil is trying and trying and trying and trying. And in the meantime, there's this big fight going on.
A fucking unicorn shows up.
So after the air clears and so the family descends and tries to like tidy things up, and they have the road closed and they're trying to do damage control, and like the twins have to go like enchant people so they know they haven't seen anything.
Like Men in Black.
Very much. Yeah, they got a flashy thing them. And it's funny because they actually, Neil makes a joke about swamp fog at one point too. So I'm like, that's funny. There's a lot of pop culture references throughout this book.
Whimsy.
That are wonderful.
What's swamp fog?
It's from Men in Black.
Oh, that's what it's
like
called?
The moon reflecting off the swamp is creating this gas, and anyways, it's a joke.
I saw it, but I don't remember.
It's a good movie.
Just like calling Flanders Ned.
Yep, Ned Flanders.
Ned Flanders
from Simpsons.
Yeah,
even Ashton got that joke.
I thought it was funny.
Okay, so do you know what happened in my brain during that part?
It shut off.
I was thinking, I was totally associating Ned Flanders, like with Ned Flanders, but in my brain his name was Flanders, but I thought Ned was the shortened version of Flanders, like a nick. Yeah, okay, it's not. No, it's not.
Stupid sexy Flanders.
Oh, because we were talking about Birdie at the same time, probably.
Maybe
because Dagobird and Birdie. Yeah, for potential, I could see where you went with that.
Unicorn.
So after everything gets settled, everyone's just got wrecked.
Did he say her name right?
No.
Hold on. We're getting there.
Damn it, sorry.
The house is asleep. Lou has since showed up, and they're celebrating the end of this fight. And then a motherfucking unicorn rolls up.
Yeah, but it's not like what you're thinking.
It's not a lovely, wonderful unicorn.
Like you got for your
It's
birthday.
like a death machine unicorn is going to fucking kill you.
It's
Cool.
described as looking like a cross between a hyena and a unicorn, and it's basically like,
Oh my
I'm
God.
gonna eat all your souls, kind of thing.
And it
Oh.
regenerates. So like as soon as it starts taking damage, it just heals itself.
That's fucking.
And
It's
if it
gnarly.
touches you with its horn, it sends you to the other.
Yeah, in this case, so when it hits any of the spirits, they get banished back to the reliquary, and they can't come back out until they rest. And so this is like a hardcore battle. Like it goes on for quite a while.
the
to
unicorn part, you
the
mean?
unicorn part, because like unicorns are like impossible to kill.
So
They're
what's
from
the
the other.
unicorn fighting? The Smith
Everybody,
people?
everybody. So the rebellion kind of gets situated, sorted out. There's some on the run. They're chasing them down, whatever. Like some of the family leave to do that. So we've got, who do we have? We have the reliquary. We have Neil. We have Lou is there. And I think Roland gets sent off too. And so there's no rebellion left. There's nobody. There's just the unicorn and those dudes. And Neil, like to the point that Neil picks up like a thing shaped like a spear to try to fight, which is hilarious that a human's gonna fight a fucking unicorn, but whatever. And like somebody puts a shield on Neil or something. Shiloh puts like a shield over Neil or a charm or something. Anyway, a whole bunch of things happen. And so there's this big fucking showdown with this unicorn, and like everybody gets down and out. You know, those typical fights where it's like everyone loses. And then all of a sudden, Neil is sitting there, and a fucking cat tentacle monster, jumps up on his knee and starts meowing at him.
Aw.
And he gives him scritches.
Well, obviously. He's not a
And
monster.
Of course he's not. And he gives really good scritches.
That was no pun intended, by the way.
And because he gives really good scritches, Buffy goes and fights for him.
Even though he doesn't say her name right?
He did finally say her name
Oh.
right. Yep. And
Wait,
so-
she's the cat.
She's
Buffy's
the cat that has a bunch of weird monster tentacle things.
She's
and
an eldritch horror.
when she jumps towards the unicorn, she grows and grows and grows into this eldritch horror and consumes the unicorn. And then they win.
No.
And then Buffy turns back into her little form, and Neil gives her scritches again. And then she's like, "Okay, I'm done here," and then leaves.
And then
Aw.
she likes him.
Was she an all black cat? That's what
Yes.
I imagine.
Yeah, like think of an all black cat with a bunch of eyeballs and tentacles, but like small, and like a cat.
Like a little kitten with a bunch of eyeballs. and tentacles?
Yeah, it's pretty gnarly.
That sounds
Because-
adorable.
Because, at
but
one point he's like, "I'm trying to figure out which eye to look at, but there's many of them."
Yeah.
It's very cute.
Is she floofy too?
Yeah, she's a little floofy.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
so,
so whose side is the unicorn on?
the rebellion.
Okay.
bad
There's
side.
I should mention that.
I
like,
thought it was like maybe a third side.
no, there's a part way back, again book long. There's a part in when there's like a rumor going around that there's a unicorn in town, and like it's kind of like, I don't know, it's almost like a joke. Because as you picture a unicorn, you're like, whatever, it's a fucking unicorn. But they're like, no, it's bad. And we're like, ha, hilarious. And then they show up at the end and you're
That
like,
sweet little unicorn.
oh, fuck. This unicorn's about to like kill everybody. And they do, basically.
Hyena unicorn.
Yeah.
I imagine you can see its bones.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think it's very bony
It
looking
was like
creature.
hunched over too. Like
Yeah, it's very like
like
misshapen.
hyena.
and-
Hyena.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm thinking of like Ed from The Lion King.
shape.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
a lot
like,
of Lion King tonight.
but nastier.
With a horn
Mm-hmm.
that can
Yeah, the horn
Yeah.
that banishes people and auto heals.
Murders
Like,
them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Legendary creature.
it's a fucking badass creature.
So to resolve the entire thing, obviously Lou and Neil end up in a proper mating situation. The reliquary goes back to Lou. However,
cock ring.
Could you time traveling anal beads?
however, one of the beads stays with Neil.
Little anal bead.
Buffy.
Buffy, the Eldritch Horror,
Oh,
because he gave very good scritches.
Kitty anal bead.
I was trying to make this nice and wholesome, and you just
fluffy kitty anal bead.
What about this is wholesome?
so many tentacles
The little fluffy kitten is wholesome.
with eyeballs and
Who
tentacles.
wants to stay with Neil?
And anyone who has owned the reliquary before can see the spirits, but anyone who has never handled it before cannot see the spirits. So
Oh.
Neil can see all of the spirits, even though like he doesn't have them with him all the time.
Oh, that's nice.
So they're all friends.
So they're all friends, and they get to see each other all the time because Lou and Neil end up in a relationship, obviously.
yeah.
So that is the
But Buffy's still Neil's.
yeah, that's right. So
Wait,
that's-
so is she a bracelet?
well, she's a bead on a bracelet.
So now there's 2 bracelets.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
They split themselves up, which is like unheard of.
Good math.
But
They
like,
did it.
it's not just a bead and a bracelet. It's now 2 bracelets. So is that going to cause some shit?
No, because they're mated, so they're technically like.
Yeah, they're always together.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they're both protecting this dimension anyway, so that's good.
Yeah.
Right.
So, gosh, that's the whole book. I talked about it. We got there.
Did Michael get murdered?
So Michael got banished, and then when Lou found out that it was actually Roland that backstabbed him and not Michael, he brought Michael back.
But Michael still wanted to fight him.
Michael did it out of like altruistic reasons, though.
Well,
like,
Roland talked him into it. Is
Yeah.
what is how they describe it. That Roland was like, "Yeah, man, like this guy is keeping shit from us, and he's like he's manipulating us and shit. Like we have to take him out. Like there's no way he can lead this place."
So Roland didn't really get tricked.
he did not. He got triple crossed almost
He
because
Yeah.
did the tricking.
yeah, he did the tricking, but then he got tricked back, and anyway, it's a whole thing.
tricky.
So now, Jack,
Wow. Oh my god.
I see that you've been maybe asking more questions than usual in order to delay the inevitable.
I actually just forgot about this. Oh no.
This is kind of like in the middle of them doing stuff, and because I want to keep it kind of short, so we're just gonna read like part of them railing each other. Okay.
Neil let his arms and legs flop across the bed, and he grinned up at Lou. God, I love your dick. Trust that it is a very big fan of yours, too. Lou lifted one knee at a time, and he was finally able to get the rest of his clothes off. Now fully nude, he pressed close so he could kiss Neil. He slid his arms underneath Neil's body as their tongues danced together, and he sighed, a breathy little growl that sounded especially pleased. Neil stroked Lou's hair, his legs shaking as they rose around Lou's hips. Their frantic passions had slowed for the moment, but there was plenty of heat behind every one of Lou's searing kisses. You've been so very good for me, Lou murmured. I want you to come for me when you take my knot again. Can you do that, baby? Uh-huh, Neil nodded. Oh, it certainly wouldn't take much. The storm of sweet pressure wasn't difficult to call back now that Neil knew there would finally be a reprieve, and he eagerly grinded his ass down on Lou's shrinking knot to help get himself there. Lou tilted his hips upward as he thrust, slowly but surely lifting Neil's ass off the bed to hit a particularly devastating angle. Neil cried out, his whole sensitive from so much friction. He whimpered as Lou's cock rubbed against the sweetest nerves that made him see stars, and he moaned when Lou sped up once more. Lou dug in harder, forcing Neil to bend in half with his knees pinned to his chest as he drilled into him. He grabbed Neil's shoulders to pull him into every slam, and he snaked his other hand over Neil's thigh to deliver a quick smack. God, Neil gasped. Hey, it doesn't say gods. I love that. The simple skin-on-skin collision was enough to make him shudder to his toes. He was so overstimulated that he thought his brain might crash, and he moaned helplessly when Lou spanked him again. He would tense without meaning to, clenching up tight around Lou's cock and intensifying the already powerful feelings. Yeah, that's it, Lou urged. Squeeze down on my dick, baby. Come on. As if Neil needed more encouragement, Lou spanked him again in exactly the same spot. The quick burn was scalding, maddening, and Neil cried out as 2 more targeted blows forced him to tighten down even more on Lou's thrusting cock. It felt amazing, overwhelmingly so, and the throb in his balls was back up to insanity-inducing levels. Sir, please, Neil begged. Please, please, please. Come on, baby, Lou growled, fucking him harder. Thick fur grew over his chest and neck as his body bulged with the threat of his transformation. His teeth were fangs, sharp and catching the light when he ordered, Come on, my knot, baby. Come on. Give it up for me. Let me see you come. Neil focused on the wet, hot slide of Lou's cock, the sinfully sweet rise of pressure, and he angled his ass down to get Lou's dick to rub right there. Fuck! There you go. There you go, baby. Lou snarled. Sobbing, Neil came so hard that his body jerked upward, and he nearly headbutted Lou. Lou's knots swelled during the first pulse, and Neil cried out in surprise and wild pleasure. It was like coming back to back, each wave hotter and stronger than the last, driven by the big surge of Lou's load inside of him. Fuck, I hate that word.
Load?
Yes. Neil was already so full, so fucking full, and every last muscle surrendered its last bit of strength to carry him through the staggering whirlwind of bliss. Good boy, my good boy. Lou eased Neil's legs back around his waist, wrapping him up in a tender embrace as he pressed a soft kiss to his lips. Neil moved his mouth in reply, but it wasn't much of a kiss. He couldn't catch his breath. That part of his face felt eerily numb, and his limbs wouldn't listen to any of his commands. He was content to be held and did his best to return Lou's kisses, mumbling, "Fuck, that was good."
Thanks for that, Jack.
Amazing.
I really love that you tried to channel what I brought to the reading.
It was slightly more dramatic than usual. I really appreciate that.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
It was
I know Ashton's a hard act to follow, but that was decent.
it wasn't like quite as like disturbing as sometimes. There was like a little bit of like, I hate the word load.
I love that it was like the alliteration of it, like lose load.
Lose load. Yeah.
I guess they did a good job with that.
So we've come to the part of the episode where we start rating it. Obviously, we're going to rate this out of 9
Knots?
beads.
Unicorns?
Well, there's only one unicorn. I can't rate out of that. There's only one knot that matters. So 9 beads.
Okay.
9
Of the
anal
reliquary.
beads. 9 bracelet charms.
Thank you.
Bracelet charms.
Ash, you want to go first?
9?
Yeah, out of 9.
Solid, like 8, I'm going to say.
Damn, that's pretty high.
Yeah. Like,
That's a lot of bracelet charms.
I know.
Which one would you leave off?
Oh shit, you gotta pick? Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
I don't know, man.
No pressure.
The romantic, maybe.
That's fair.
Or the princess. Either the romantic or the princess.
Did we discuss the princess?
Yeah, the Princess Bridget. She goes around and eats people.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. They were all kind of fun. Anyway, I like the book was super like whimsical. I really liked the way that the author kind of did the world building was great. It didn't take itself too seriously, which is lovely. Even the continuity stuff was not enough to like make me get irritated.
Did you
by
notice any of it going through?
the tiramisu thing? I noticed.
Yeah, okay.
But no, sorry, not the tiramisu thing. The other thing I noticed. Because I was like, wait, what?
Oh, the bleach thing. Yeah, because to go back to that real quick, because now we know the answer. Roland was the one that mentioned like the bleach in the cactus,
Yeah.
and he was like, I didn't mention that to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's like that's not in the book anywhere.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was the thing.
I look forward to what they come up with further for the series. I was interested in reading more. Like I'll probably read their other Mafia book. Or series. I'm a little nervous too though, because like I feel like with Mafia is kind of one of those things is it's kind of serious. How do you like? And one of the things that I loved about this book was the whimsy in it, and like how you gonna do that? Like, anyways, I'm
And I
curious.
mean, like, this is not a mafia book.
No,
It's just not. Like,
No.
it's framed as a mafia, like that mafia is going on in the background. Not a mafia
it's
book.
delightful.
Yeah.
I really like. To the point, I like a book when I screenshot it 1,000,000 times and send it into the group chat, and that's what I did with this book. To the point that I said we should do this, and it's been on the list for like months.
God, 5 months at least. Yeah.
Because I know I read this over the summer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
'Cause
yeah,
I mean, it's just January, so yeah.
I'd say a solid 8.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Jack, what do you say?
Woo.
It was a lot of book.
I don't remember what all the beads were called.
That's okay.
I'm gonna give it a cactus bead. because, you know,
Honorary mention to the cactus.
I love the cactus whole
So,
thing.
I should have mentioned too the story they weave about how they met was on a cactus forum.
Oh.
Yeah.
I should have mentioned that just for you. Sorry.
For cactus
Adorable.
lovers.
I'm still a little confused about who the fuck Isba was. Just like some one person knew who they were.
Yeah, Q knew.
Like,
Q was
oh, hey, it's Rachel. Like that?
kind of.
Okay.
It's
Because they're like, it's Isba. And he's like, oh. And then he says Isba's full name, which I'm not going to try to pronounce.
Right.
It's like having that one friend that's kind of like everybody knows about the friend when you talk about the friend sometimes, but you don't really like.
And they moved away and you don't see them a lot anymore.
Yeah. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, it's so and so.
You know so-and-so. I know so-and-so. I can't believe they know each
Yeah.
other.
But like,
Except
when,
it's a house.
but like
Yeah,
when
it's like Rachel,
you
but a
read
house.
it, you weren't like, oh.
No, it
No.
wasn't. It
It was
wasn't
like, oh, for Q, but we don't even really know who Q is.
Kind of.
like that.
when Q mentions that is like Isba or whoever mentions that Isba is like Baba Yaga's house, that's when like we're like, oh yeah, Baba Yaga's house because
well,
you know.
and
I thought you guys like made that up.
well, they
That
don't
was-
actually say that in the
Oh.
book because at the end, I left this part out too. Long book. Isba shows up to the unicorn fight on chicken legs, like uproots himself after he wakes up after being
Yeah,
put to sleep.
yeah.
Wakes up on chicken legs, and I'm like, that's Baba Yaga's house.
Yeah.
Like, that's when you
Okay.
kind of get like the real
There's the
deep
moment
because
of-
there's like some allusion to it, but they don't actually say it anywhere.
Okay.
But that was the like, oh, okay, that's Baba Yaga's.
Sorry,
fucking
there was a
house.
reason that I knew it was Baba Yaga's
Yeah,
house.
well, that's
Okay.
to your point. That's what it was.
That's fair.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I still wouldn't know what it was, but that's makes
it's
more
one
sense.
of those like things that's subtle and like
It just adds to the whimsy.
yeah.
Yeah, it's another because I mean, there's like Cthulhu creatures in here, right? Like, and a unicorn, and so like there's some like to call out on some of the creatures of myth.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, so I thought it was fun, and I really enjoyed that they did not use the word gods because that fucking drives me nuts about every single book. Oh my gods! Like, oh, it just takes me right out of it. I can't picture having sex when you're calling out gods. It's crazy. Anyways, I'm gonna give the fluffy kitty a spot on the bracelet. The unicorn, the unicorn. Oh my god, fuck. And I mean, I think like a enchanted house is pretty cool. I think I'll give it like maybe overall 7.
it's a good rating.
But I feel like one of them was like chewed up and like threw up, and
Okay.
then it got like put
Yeah,
back
like
together.
like the architect didn't finish doing what it was doing. Like it didn't spit the thing back out, just chewed it up.
No, it did spit it back out, but it's just not quite the same as it was the first time.
Gotcha. Okay,
Chewed and spit out too many times.
so 6 3/4.
Basically.
Perfect. Thank you.
Exactly.
This is one of those books that like the first time I read it through, I really enjoyed it and I didn't think too hard about it. And the second time I read it through, I was like way more critical of it, which generally I am, especially on longer books.
Is that when you noticed the inconsistencies the second time?
That's when I really noticed them,
Okay.
because I did like sit down and read the bulk of it in one sitting. So that was a lot. But I mean, the characters are great. There's something about an Ashley, you'll get this one. Neil's character is so reminiscent of that character from the second Himbo book, the superheroes. He's like the bratty sub. Simon. He's like the bratty sub.
I didn't think he was that bad.
It was like, I don't know. Every so often I'll get a vibe from it. And I think it's because I read it like a lot, all in one day.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Of like when you spend a lot of time with one person, sometimes you're like, I'm picking up on all the annoying things that person does.
We get it. You moved away from us.
He was definitely like a typecast character. Like you knew what he was supposed to be about. That like flippant, like I'm not gonna. No, you can't tell me to shut up. Like
bratty. He's bratty.
Oh.
I didn't get necessarily super bratty. I just got like because if he were those are the strong female characters that are like, you can't put me in a corner. Like, do you know what I mean? Like there was
like a pick me.
Yeah, kind of like I don't know. I didn't. I definitely didn't think he was as bad as Simon.
No.
Simon was like
That was, but so like I got the vibe that he was like,
that's also a thing you're sensitive to.
Yeah,
though. You
it is.
really don't like that dynamic as a character,
Yeah.
so I could totally see why that would like flare up in your face.
I imagined him kind of like goofy when you guys were talking about him,
it's funny because
Like-
he doesn't come across as goofy.
or like he would like fumble things and like
Okay.
what's the word I'm looking for?
Clumsy?
Clumsy, kind of just like sort of goofy, clumsy, like not like a man's man or like super like
He was Twinkie, but not Twinkie. Like I don't even know how to describe it.
I don't know what it was. Anyways, there was something
I
about,
know what you're
there was
saying,
something a
though.
little off-putting about his character. And again, that is from a very critical standpoint, is what I'll say about that. And
but
like,
he did kick that guy in the balls, so that's fucking cool.
He did.
But that's also that could be considered bratty.
Exactly. And so I don't know. And maybe it's just that dynamic of like you have the super
Yeah.
dom and then like the bratty sub kind of situation. Like that was the vibe I got from it. So it's getting a point off just because of that.
That's fair.
That's like, but otherwise, Deadass, this is a great book. The continuity drives me nuts.
Was it too like cliche?
No.
The Dom sub
No,
thing?
it wasn't that it was cliche. Like it was just there's something about the dynamic that didn't. And you know what? Here's the thing too. Is what I'll say is that I really wish this book was written in first person,
Fair.
and I wish it went back and forth from the
Fair.
perspectives.
Yep.
And especially where it's more like there's like shit going on.
Yeah.
It would be really cool to see Lou's perspective on a lot of that stuff that you don't get to see it at all.
And you might not have had that like bratty vibe from Neil if it was
Correct.
written from first person.
And you know what? It might be worse potentially.
Yeah.
But I feel like that would have helped the situation a lot.
Yeah.
And,
Worse
like,
when you're reading from his perspective or the
Yeah.
other guy's.
well, probably his own.
Could be both.
But
though, too.
Lou, like, I feel like they didn't flesh that character out enough. Like, there are moments of vulnerability and shit like that, but I feel like if it was a first person written book, you would get a lot more of his character in that. And it would
Yeah.
be like a lot more well rounded and like,
Yeah.
because you get like the soft side of him and that kind of shit, but it's not like the deep physical emotions.
the whys of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like his backstory and all that shit. Like, we're missing parts of that.
Yeah.
Their
and
thoughts about each other. and
even
stuff.
that kind of stuff. Like,
I can
I
see
feel like
that.
it would have benefited immensely from being first person. That being said, though, I want to read more books that they've written.
Yes.
If only because they write mostly monster romance, and I fucking love monster romance. I love it so much, and especially the human monster romance is like my jam. And so
Is it?
It kind of is.
Is it really?
Also, you got to give it credit for hating on Crocs.
Yeah, listen.
We didn't
Yeah.
even mention that.
Jacqueline. Here's the thing, though.
Lou
Here's
ends up
the
with
thing.
Crocs.
Okay,
Oh no, he got croc-verted.
so he promises. So Neil promises Flanders that at some point he's going to torch his Crocs, which he does. He
Oh
dest-
right,
he
what was the
destroys them.
deal though?
The deal was like if he would fight for him or something
Okay.
at the end of it. Anyway, and so he does like destroy his Crocs because they got wrecked in the battle because he was wearing them in fucking battle.
And Lou bought him new Crocs and they were matching.
Orange.
So Neil got Crocs for him and for Lou because he talked him into getting them. And they're bright orange Crocs. And
One of them's got blue Crocs and one of them's
one,
bright
yeah,
orange
Neil,
Crocs.
Lou's are blue and Neil's are bright orange.
Yeah.
And I hate that.
Yeah.
So I'm giving this book a 6 out of 8.
Oh, because I reminded you. Shit. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, but Crocs in general. Anyway.
KL, I'm sorry.
But see, I think that the Crocs were used as the irony device in this
Oh, for
one,
sure. For
Which
sure.
is why I don't hate on it because of the Crocs. I love it because of the Crocs because it took my hate of Crocs and like made me feel seen through the Hellhound.
Yeah, I mean, I too
What?
identify strongly with the Hellhound in this situation. Yeah, 100%.
What
I
are
also
you what are you hating? What's happening?
Crocs. I hate them.
But
Yeah.
like, what's like the over
I can't stand
thing
them.
that you're talking about? Like the thing that only
Words where
smart
you-
people notice, and I'd just be like, "Oh man, Crocs."
The irony?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, their whole irony of the whole thing is that werewolves hate clogs, and then Crocs, and then he ends up with Crocs at the end because he doesn't actually hate them.
Oh,
It's a whole anyway.
It's
Oh,
Flanders.
I thought you meant like it was like some metaphor.
Oh
for, like,
gosh, no.
life. Yeah.
Well,
pretty
okay,
much.
world shit.
if you want to go, sure, monster romance. I'm sure there's a metaphor in there somewhere. But so I mean,
Dicking
that's-
down.
So 6 out of 8. I mean, again, very good book. I've
She
had too
did
much of
say
it.
7 out of 8 not too long ago, though.
Did I?
No, it's at a 9.
Oh, sorry. 7 out of 9.
Isn't that a character from like Star
7
Trek?
of 9, yeah.
Are
So
you weirded out that I know that?
Yes.
you should be weird. I know that.
She
I've
was-
never watched Star Trek.
She was
Me neither.
Borg.
I was bored.
Borged.
Borg.
Oh.
She was a Borg.
Okay.
So
That's it.
that's it. I have nothing to talk about because the last several weeks I've been playing Baldur's Gate, the end. I have like almost 200 hours in that game, so I don't read.
So you love it then?
I'm obsessed.
Cool.
No
I don't
problem.
have anything either.
Which is funny because I called it back in November that I was going to be playing
You
Baldur's Gate
did,
forever,
yes.
and I have been. So past Rachel knows what's up.
Oh, also, actually, I've been watching Raising Hope. I love that. We saw like most of it before, but didn't finish it.
Is that an older show?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a few years ago. It's really funny though.
Cool.
Some of it doesn't quite like. It's not okay these days
Doesn't
anymore.
translate well.
Hasn't
Yeah.
aged well.
Yeah. That
But
one.
like, I feel like even at the time, it was kind of like you probably shouldn't say
Controversial.
that. But they do it lightly.
Interesting. Always interesting to see how things age.
Yes.
Ash, do you got a book you want to talk about?
Oh my God, I've read so many books.
You read how many books was it last year? 200 over 250?
I just hit 245.
Oh, okay. I got to 99 books on my Kindle,
Yeah.
and then I've read a slew of physical books this year. Obviously, one for every podcast, and then at least one for every podcast.
39. No.
No, that would be the entire series.
Okay.
Yeah. I forget how long.
I'm going to talk about this one because I know we're never going to read it. We're never going to talk about it.
Go for it.
I read Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young.
Mm-hmm.
And I mentioned this one to you. This is a pregnancy book. And this has got... It's so freaking delightful. The main female character is born with a small hand, like a malformed hand, and
Take my strong hand.
yeah, like that.
Gotcha.
And she's
Is that the?
yes, the motion is super appreciated, and so she's at her friend's Halloween party, and her like whole shtick is that she's dressed like a pirate. And she meets this guy. Everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you and your so and so are gonna totally rock, like totally win the couples." She's like, "What are you talking about? Couples contest? There's no. I'm not here with anybody."
He was a parrot.
No, he was also a pirate, but he was an amputee, so he was missing the bottom half of his leg. And they hook up, and then she gets knocked up, and it's just then they like are gonna raise the kid together, and she moves in with them, and like I know Rachel hates it, but it was so fucking cute, and it was like. It was just adorable. You hate pregnancy books, which is why I'm talking about it because I know we're never going to read it.
I don't
You
think
get-
I would like
You
that.
get like one pregnancy book a year. That's what you
I
get.
have been good and not recommended pregnancy books.
Not yet.
Wait, have we watched or listened to any talked about any pregnancy books?
No, only I have talked about pregnancy books.
Because I don't recall being
Mother's
weirded
Day
out.
was a child book.
Oh, but
We
she
have
already
never-
had a kid.
We have
right?
never done a book where the main focus is the character being pregnant. We have read books where in the epilogue they have become pregnant.
A lot of
that
the case,
doesn't
that's,
count.
That's also
Ooh,
the
or
case.
that
obviously.
one with Uncle Jake. That girl got pregnant. Didn't
In
she?
the epilogue.
Yeah, in the
Oh,
epilogue.
was it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yes. Again.
No, not the main girl. The guy's like ex-girlfriend, crazy
Oh,
bitch.
yeah, but that wasn't a premise. It wasn't.
I
The
love
corner-
that she remembers that random shit.
That
What?
wasn't. That wasn't the like overarching story though.
Yeah.
that's
No,
what
no.
Ashton's. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
but
Rachel doesn't want to read a book. She will if I pick one.
Yeah.
But it has to be a good one. But she doesn't want me to read a book where like the focus is pregnancy.
Yeah,
no.
I don't give a
why
shit
would
about
anyone
that.
want to like? Why would anyone want to
Because
read
it's
that
fucking
book?
cute.
But
Nah.
like, okay, but are we looking for cute books? Or are we looking for like hot books?
But what if they just got a dog instead or a cat?
like? Are they like? Oh, does he like rubber pregnant belly? Like, do they talk about it like that? Is it like pregnancy fetish?
I love that you're getting grossed out by pregnancy books, considering the fucking book you picked for me to read and the books that Rachel has read. Stuffed by the Were Turkey is on her fucking list.
I can't wait to read that.
And you're gonna get weirded out by pregnancy.
Well,
a natural process.
I've never seen a were turkey before, so I don't have to like think about it.
So thanks for that, Ash. What was that book called again?
It's Out on a Limb by Helena Bonham Young. I think she has a number of books, but I just, you know what I get like when there's representation in books. I need to read the shit out of that stuff.
Also,
because
amputees being pirates is the best thing ever.
I
Because pirates are the epitome of inclusive, in my opinion.
yeah.
Next time we're back,
Ooh.
we're reading a very special book.
Is Uncle Jake back?
God, no, not one time. It is called Morning Glory Milking Farm by
Oh
C.M.
my god.
Miss Costa, and we'll talk about that next time.
Oh no.
On the Queens. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Help.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Queens of Spice podcast. You'll find us on Instagram and Twitter at Queens of Spice. Or if you want to send us an email, you can reach us at queensofspice@gmail.com.